emerges from beneath the sand. Dance with me, girl, seems so far away. Across this universe, she lives another day. I know the reason she stays. I know the reason she's so far away. I know the reason she stays. I know the reason she's so far away. We could have, could we run from everything we have done? It only takes us one more step to fall. We could have, could
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Wednesday Night Modern here from MTGCardmarket on the north side of Chicago. There is currently a very important, for the Chicago area, baseball game being played, but we really appreciate you joining us tonight, and we will attempt to keep baseball remarks to a minimum throughout the broadcast. Dan and I are going to be bringing you 4 rounds of Modern, and it should be a good night. We got some interesting decks in the room, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of your old regulars who are, some playing the same decks that are known for, other people on, interesting brews.
Something new.
Yeah, for sure. If we throw it onto the play area here, we're going to have Sam Schultz on
I messed up the sides.
the Jeskai deck that Jeff Hoogland
Yes.
popularized. Jeff being a sponsored player by MTG Card Market and a frequent player at the top tables at SCG events.
Absolutely. And this is actually, so we flip these around, but this is just, and I don't know what Rick is playing.
Okay, well, we'll find out soon enough, right?
Yeah, this is absolutely true. Let's start this round. Yeah. So yeah, these 2 players will get shuffled up here for game 1. We've seen some, there's the standard meta has obviously sort of started to settle a little bit since we last streamed. There were some GPs this weekend that we can certainly talk about in between the breaks. There's also a Modern GP coming up this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Dallas.
Dallas is the first Modern GP in quite some time. And really kind of will give us an indication of whether the pros came up with something that, utilizes vehicles. Or
In Modern?
Yeah, in Modern.
Okay, I can see it.
There's been a couple of rumors flying around.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, enumerate those rumors, because that's really interesting, and I have not heard them.
Oh,
what do we got going on?
There's a couple lists that are running Copter.
Of course.
All right.
The standard all-star.
Mm-hmm. Some even going as far as boats.
Sky Sovereign.
Yeah.
What deck on this earth wants Sky Sovereign?
Various, Noble Hierarchs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Noble Hierarchs.
I guess if you ramp it out, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Not sure if I necessarily agree. Batterskull seems
Yeah.
to be the 5-drop artifact of choice, but hey, it does come down with a bolt.
Boat flies.
Absolutely.
Also, I actually I played against, do some playtesting on Cockatrice every now and then, and I played against a blue-black fairies deck playing Smuggler's Copter. Mm-hmm. Seems legit. Turn your terrible cards into turn your terrible attackers into not terrible attackers. Okay, so both of these players are playing decks with Serum Visions and Mutagenic Growths. Sam here playing the Jeskai aggro deck. We see his hand. He's got 2 Serum Visions, a Monastery Swift Spear, but no red source critically.
Right. Critically, no red source. With double Serum Visions, presumably he can get there. But this is really a deck that wants to apply pressure quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, it's so threat light that, this one Swift Spear, if he can't protect it, is going to have problems.
Absolutely. Did you get a chance to see what Rick was on?
I saw Windswept Heath, Mutagenic Growth, and Serum Visions.
Okay. Sounds
So
like Infect.
he could be on a Serum Visions version of Infect, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we've seen Serum Visions really played in the Infect deck.
Yeah, I mean...
There's a Glistener Elf and an Inkmoth.
yeah, this...
And Blossoming Defense. Aw, yes.
But does he have a green source in hand?
He has a Breeding Pool. It's like the third card right there.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, this looks like an excellent keep then.
Yeah, that seems fine. Sam, if he can't find this red source, is going to have problems. Although Sam does have double bolt, so like he can deal with some of Rick's stuff. If Rick, just like turn one runs the elf out there. So yeah, Sam's going to Serum Visions here, draw a Scry, critically finds the Flooded Strand, puts it on top. This will enable him to probably kill the Glistener Elf immediately.
Now, Rick, without having access to double green, his turn 2 doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to play Glistener Elf with Blossoming Defense up.
Yeah, although no, he has a fetch. So he has a fetch Breeding Pool.
Oh, he does have a fetch. Okay, well then I like this play of just playing the turn 2 Glistener Elf instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. Probably going to be fetch Shocking for a Steam Vents. The other thing with Rick's start is he didn't reveal any information about sort of, I guess, like Wooded Foothills is like a Jund fetch, but it's like it's like the least popular one in that deck.
Yeah, I mean also various Naya decks, Burn decks. The Wooded Foothills doesn't really reveal too much.
All right, yeah. As we pull a Blossoming Defense here, this card's from Kaladesh. Green, target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains hexproof until end of turn. This card is very powerful. Tom Ross, the sort of the boss, the master of Infect, played 4 of them in his top 16 list from the most recent SCG.
Yeah, and I can certainly see why he would want to do that. Blossoming Defense, importantly, one of the few ways you can get around on Spellsky.
Yes, creatures you control. And now, Sam, going to go to 15 here off this Gitaxian Probe. Going to see that he's up against Infect, and so he sees the elf. He sees the critical 2 Blossoming Defenses here. So, like...
So the problem with this hand, though, is if Rika runs out the Glistener Elf, he can't get it out of double bolt range.
But Sam doesn't have double red.
It's true. Sam could whiff here. He also chose to... wow.
He's going to draw
Draws
Mutagenic.
Mutagenic.
Okay, so this, critically, we need to keep track of this. This Monastery Swift Spear is currently at 3/4. Because he Swift Speared and he cast 2 spells. So this is a 3/4 attacking here. And we'll see if Sam... I sort of like the Mutagenic Growth before damage here, but Sam's going to hold off.
I mean, Mutagenic Growth is also really powerful in enabling Temur Battle Rage.
This deck doesn't play Battle Rage, does it? No, this is the Hooglin list. This isn't the Battle Rage deck.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I mean, you're using the Mutagenic Growth as a bolt, which is, I mean, you can do that pretty much at any time, right? You saw your opponent's hand; they don't have removal.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It basically functions as a pay 2 life for Giant Growth, which against Infect is essentially free Giant Growth because they're not going to pressure the life total unless things get really desperate.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Rick gonna fetch the tapped Breeding Pool, gonna draw here. Comes up with a Pendlehaven. So it's all right. He'll shock off this Breeding Pool and fall down to 14. Play the elf out and pass the turn. So this is the critical turn here. If Sam can kill this elf, he's in really good shape. If he can't kill the elf, though, and he's going to tap out of red, so...
He is, however, I mean, this will let him get in for at least 4. This is also a reason why I like not playing the Mutagenic Growth last turn.
Oh, I guess if he did have the other Swift Spear, then it makes a lot of sense, right?
Right. This represents an extra point of damage.
Yes. He saw, I believe that's a Vapor Snag on top.
Yes, the Vapor Snag is second to the top. I didn't quite see what card he topped.
Okay. But Bloodstained Mire means that he probably is not going to be able to get to both of those cards unless he doesn't fetch.
Right.
Okay, so here's an attack. Well, maybe not. Okay, yeah, no. So here's the attack. This is for 4.
Okay. I mean, he can pile on a lot of damage. This is a 5 point
Burn
bolt.
spell?
Yeah.
So this will take Rick to 5?
And then mutagenic is another 4.
So the Swift Spears are
This is currently attacking for 4.
currently attacking for 4. The
He can play...
the mutagenic will add 4 power.
Right, and the bolt will add 5.
Okay. I see.
So he can put Rick down to 1.
He's close. Yeah. That being said, is he dead on the backswing?
Well, he knows Rick has mutagenic and double blossoming defense, right?
Yeah.
So that in of itself is going to be 7. So if
Okay.
Rick has another land,
Yeah. So one of
Same
those
could
is a
eventually-
5/6, and the other one is a 3/4.
no, these are both. Yes.
And Sam's gonna go to 13 to do this. So 5, 6, 3, 4. That's 8. Yep. All right. And then I think Sam may have realized that he doesn't actually have it
Yeah. I kind of like firing off this bolt here
at the elf.
because it's almost impossible that this bolt is going to actually kill the elf.
Yeah.
Right. Rick has double blossoming defense in hand that you know.
He's gonna
about.
pass.
If you bolt Rick, that at least.
Rick's gonna go to 6 here.
Right.
The thing is like if Rick doesn't have the kill this turn, he's very, very dead.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is not even going to be close.
And I don't think he does because he has Muta double blossoming, which is 7, plus a Pendlehaven, which is 8, but he's lacking the 2 additional points.
Right.
This is one of the things with the blossoming defense where like it provides a lot of protection, but it is obviously not as explosive as something like Groundswell at allowing you to kill your opponent very quickly.
Right.
If Rick, for example, had a Might of Old Krosa, this game would just be over.
This.
Because you might your dude,
Yeah.
and then in response, you just blossoming it, get in there. So, we will have to see what happens here.
Now Rick did draw Blighted Agent, so he could put himself on the double block plan.
Okay. The problem is he just gets burned out, right?
He doesn't know that yet, but
that's what'll happen.
right.
Yeah, Sam's gonna untap, show the double bolt, and that is gonna be game 1. So Jeskai aggro able to successfully race Infect.
Don't think there was much that Rick could have done. He died on turn 4.
Yeah, he died on turn 4, and there wasn't like he couldn't play his elf turn 1 because he knew that like there was.
Well, he only saw Seacrum Coast into Serum
true.
Visions, so it might not have been a bolt deck. He might have just been priced into running it out.
Sure.
If Rick had another infect creature in his hand, he almost certainly would have run it out.
Ooh, Sam looking to board in some Thing in the Ice here, coming out of the board, along with a Spell Pierce and I believe 2 copies or maybe 1 or 2 copies of Blessed Alliance.
Yep.
Another relatively recently printed card that has shown up in white deck sideboards, quite strong against strategies where they're pumping 1 creature and just hitting you.
Blessed Alliance demonstrating the power of edict effects, right? Giving your creature hexproof or protection from a color
Does not matter.
will not protect you, which means you have to fight on an axis of like Spell Pierce. That's much more difficult to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Sam looking like he's gonna bring in like Thing in the Ice, Spell Pierce, and Blessed Alliance. Those all seem fine. Rick over there, I think he was looking at he's got some Kitchen Finks, a Dispel, 2 Spellskite. Kitchen Finks, obviously, like, I don't know if Sam is playing Paths. I think he probably has to be playing Paths, right?
Almost certainly.
Yeah. But, like, every Kitchen Fink that gets Pathed is one more Infector that doesn't.
Well, a lot of times also is you can just get so aggressive with your life totals that Kitchen Finks, it's still a 3/2.
Yeah, we saw Sam
put
put himself very low that game, just by fetch shocking and mutagenic and stuff. So, if Rick had a Finks, he could have maybe pressured that a little bit more. But of course, there's not like Finks is I think can be a little slow sometimes.
I like Finks a lot more against the more mid-range decks.
Sure, against Jund and stuff.
Right. He might feel like his life total is just going to be under so much pressure that he wants that buffer.
Yeah.
Which seems reasonable.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, so players will complete their sideboarding shortly. Again, we get a look. Yeah, so Rick, multiple Finks, couple Spell Skites, and a Dispel. Obviously Dispel, just like the best card in these sort of on the stack mirrors.
Right, and like some cards that Sam perhaps is boarding out, Lightning Helix, really not exciting.
We see him taking out his Mantis Riders too.
Yeah, probably just not where you want to be in this matchup.
They're a little bit slow, I think. You don't want to have to tap 3 mana. You want to. I think his goal is to play like Storm Chaser Mage or a Swift Spear and just ride that to victory.
Yeah, and especially in the sideboard games, there's more reason to leave mana up.
Absolutely.
To be fair, though, Mantis Rider does give you a attacker and a blocker.
Yeah, that's true. The nightmare though is like your opponent plays a turn 2 Bladed Agent and you have like a turn 3 Mantis Rider in your hand and you're just
Which
like
does nothing, absolutely
it's
nothing.
like, oh, please help me. So yeah, we'll see as these players shuffle up for game 2.
Blessed Alliance is also interesting in that you can use it post combat as well.
Yes, your opponent can get the damage in, and then you could be like before, because there is that space between
End of combat.
and end of combat between those things. So that is it's a small nuance with the card that because like if you're infect and you don't just go for it, your opponent's like, all right, fine, kill your guys.
Right. And that's the thing, playing against infect a lot.
You can also untap blockers.
Yes, this is technically true.
I also think that Sam is probably not going to be casting the first mode, which has proven, I think, is one of the reasons, honestly, why the card has like sort of seen a fair bit of play in modern sideboards, is because gaining 4 life randomly stapled to stuff is good. Like your opponent sacks a creature is probably going to be the most used mode, but like against burn, like maybe if you get to 4 mana, then you're really, because you obviously can choose more than one mode. If escalate, you can really just get them. Gain 4 life, sack your dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Modern is definitely a format where having the options to do various things is kind of at a premium.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the obviously it's fallen off a little bit, but it's one of the reasons why Cryptic Command is so popular. So Sam, looking at his hand here, has, I think, a Blessed Alliance, Deflecting Palm, Snapcaster Mage, Mutagenic Growth, Vapor Snag, Storm Chaser Mage, 1 land. I would not be excited about keeping that hand.
No, especially without
Serum Visions.
Serum Visions. You're really kind of priced into, hoping for land.
And that's not worth it.
Especially being on the draw and getting the scry. Just most 6s are going to be better than this.
Rick kept, I saw Glistener Elf, Bladed Agent, Breeding Pool. I don't know what else is in there, but that seems like a pretty, obviously like a very reasonable keep.
Now in these post-board games, as an effect player, your opponent is going to be, up to their gills in removal.
Yeah.
So you have to play a little more of a slow game, and you get some chip damage in, pick your fights.
Yeah. You definitely, like, the what you do here is, like, you hold up protection, and you get them up to, like, 4 or 5 infect, and then in one massive fight, you just, like, I have more spells than you have, and you just kill them.
When you can get to the point where every attack could potentially be lethal, that's
a good feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rick also has an Ink Moth in hand, so no shortage of infect threats.
So I mean, Sam has Serum Visions, Double Land, a Lightning Helix, a Blessed Alliance.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah. Still not thrilled about this Lightning Helix.
Yeah, it's a little slow. Rick will shock here to play this Glistener Elf. Oh, not that. We want 18. And Sam will start off with a Probe, falling to 18. So Vines of the Vastwood double Might of Volcrosa. If Rick has double green, he is so close. If he had double green, he would be so close to just killing Sam on the spot.
Right, absolutely. And I mean,
as it is, he's going to get in a hit for a lot.
Depends on what Sam does.
I don't know, man.
Without having double green, I would be hesitant in going.
Oh, and he draws Spell Pierce mana. I guess without double green, you are a little incentivized to like play cautiously, but Sam here will fetch. The question is if he pops the Serum Visions here, Rick will just 5 him.
Yes, and potentially 9 him.
If he draws another green source,
If he draws another green source, all of a sudden Sam is in incredibly rough shape.
Yes. And by fetching out the Steam Vents, I do think that Sam wants to, start looking, trying to select the cards that'll be best for him, but this is so much damage.
Right.
Like, and there's no way that, like, Rick is not going to put Sam on Gut Shot either, so.
I mean, you're kind of priced into this play, though.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it this turn, like, you just, leave a fetch land up.
Mm-hmm.
If Rick does draw, like, a fetch land, he could still just play Might with Vine's backup.
Right, and that's huge.
And then all of a sudden, like, your next turn's not better either.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. This is tough for Sam. But this is like the position that Infect like tries to put its opponents in.
Having the Blessed Alliance though is pretty big here because it does mean that you have an out to some of this nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sam will Serum Visions here.
He's gonna see mutagenic growth, and importantly, not a creature.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like eventually, like. Rick has a lot of threats in his
So if Rick doesn't have a green source here, he has the option of either trying to get in for 5 or
play
playing
Blighted Agent. Okay, yeah. So Rick plays a land, and we'll see what he does here. This is a challenging decision. Because like 5 is so much.
Yeah, but in the dark.
Yeah, if he had a probe, this would be a very easy decision, I think.
Right.
But oh yes, no mercy. Get in there, beats. So yep, Sam gonna just take a casual whopping 5 Infect here.
Yeah, and I think I like this play. 5 is a lot, and you're just under no pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Developing the Blighted Agent just means that Sam gets to untap with potential removal. I mean, for example, if you play the Blighted Agent, Sam has double Bolt in hand right now.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of times with Infect, you get in what you can. Alright, so Sam decides to fire off the main phase bolt here.
That seems fine. Just get the elf out of the way.
Yeah, not even playing into Apostle's Blessing because he does have the Spell Pierce backup.
Apostle's Blessing has almost been completely abandoned in favor of Blossoming Defense. This is one situation where it would have been better.
Right.
And I think, Sam here, I feel like it might not be bad to just go for another bolt.
Yeah, absolutely. If it, you would require double mutagenic growth.
Yeah, that's really, because then you untap in Helix, right?
Yeah, and that's a trade that, like, Sam would be more than happy to deal with.
Yeah.
And now you leave Rick with just the Ink Moth. And an incredibly clunky hand.
Yeah. I mean, Rick really needs to draw some mana sources here so that he can fire up the Ink Moth, but also protect it.
Yeah, this would have been a fairly different game if Rick's second land was a green source.
Absolutely, no, 100%. There's no way that like because with double green he could also have just put Sam to
9.
Yeah, which is insane. But then, he also wouldn't have this sort of tertiary threat with Ink Moth.
Right.
Sam, though, to be fair, Sam still doesn't really have a good way to win the game. He's got like double Helix, like jeez, and like okay, so there's another land for Rick. Right. This is where it starts.
Well, the problem here was Sam really wanted to play Serum Visions.
Yeah,
but then would not.
He doesn't have anything up.
Yeah, would not have the. Well, he has Sacred Foundry up.
Well, but he doesn't cast anything in his hand.
Right.
So the Lightning Helices are just so expensive.
So if Rick is going to make this play, I would really like him to fetch first. Which would allow him to play around Sam responding to the fetch. As it turns out, Sam just has double removal, so it's just not going to matter.
Yeah.
But
sure. Yeah. So Rick I think so here's the thing though, if Rick Vines is this, right? Mm-hmm. And then I don't know what his hand is like pump wise, but
It's got another might, right? So
if he has another might and Sam helixes, so it appears that Rick is going to show him the vines here. Yeah, so he'll vines. Because the thing is now, if Sam uses a removal spell,
he's just dead.
Yep.
Right, and since Sam knows these cards are in Rick's hand,
yeah,
I'm not sure if you wrote it down, but he should remember that if he tries to go for
he's gonna pass here. Yeah,
a helix, he just loses the game on the spot.
Yeah. The thing here though is like Rick can. Okay, what can he do here? Because the problem is he's if you want to play around Helix, or if you want to play around Blessed Alliance, you have to fire up both creatures in attack. But that also taps you out of having might for the Helix.
Is that a Spell Pierce in hand?
Sam has a Spell Pierce. I don't know what Rick has.
Okay.
I think
it appears that there is a blue card.
I can't tell. It might just look blue. We'll see though.
Because if it is a Spell Pierce, then I like firing up the Inkmoth and just getting in for 2.
Right, and just making it challenging for Sam.
Instead, Rick is going to go for the kill here. Sam's going to have
Blessed Alliance Spell Pierce? No, there's no Spell Pierce.
Oh, that's a Vines in it. That's a higher.
Yeah. Okay, so Rick is... He can't... This doesn't work.
Yeah.
It is just an attacking creature. And now Rick loses out on the chance to play the Hierarch post-combat.
Ooh, yeah, that was a pretty significant misstep here. But Sam... Sam has drawn into the awkward problem of having a bunch of mutagenics and no creature.
Yeah, and he's going to pass it back here. And Rick, I feel like Rick should just, take his time and play the Hierarch, and then next turn just jam. Because Sam is out of removal after this last Helix.
Right. And crucially, without being able to play his Hierarch last turn, if he had, he could have
attacked for lethal, I think.
At least for 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam just never having an opportunity to fire off the Serum Visions.
Yeah, and I think Sam here is wondering, should I Helix this Noble Hierarch? Oh, that doesn't feel great, but Sam does get to go to 15.
Yeah, I mean...
the Inkmoth just so good.
Sam has, so much in hand.
Okay, he does draw the... I can't see what he drew.
That was a Spire Bluff. Ooh, and then sees double Monastery Swift Spear on top.
Yeah, so this will kill Rick quickly, but I think the Inkmoth might kill Sam more quickly. Because Rick has a Blossoming Defense, so he's it's a 3-turn clock right now, but if Rick draws Become Immense, the game just ends, I think.
Well, let's
he has Bolt. He has a Bolt.
Yeah,
okay.
Sam has Bolt and Spell Pierce in hand.
Ooh, Spell Pierce seems real good here. And if Rick Rick does draw Spellskite though. That seems good. Because now that Bolt's just completely off.
Right, a Spellskite would be quite good here. Yeah, unfortunately, I think a crucial point in this game was not being able to play the Noble Hierarch on time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rick still has a pretty good chance of winning with the Spellskite, but I agree with you that the Hierarch not being on time was very, very bad. Because Rick does just win the game if the Hierarch hits the table there.
Yep.
Because then he has untap in to activate Vines of Vastwood against a tapped up board. So there's going to be a swing here from the Swift Spear. Rick will go to 17, it looks like.
Also, importantly with Spellskite...
Ooh, and he drew a Pendlehaven? Okay, so he's got loads of mana now.
Yeah, important with the Spellskite, too, you can attack with the Spellskite. So you get around Blessed Alliance as well.
Right, but Sam not leaving up white mana. Instead, tapping the Sacred Foundry instead of one of the 2 Steam Vents.
Yeah, I think he wants to keep up Bolt and Spell Pierce, and this is...
Yeah, I guess that's... Well, no, because you could just tap one of the Spire... You could tap the Spire Bluff and have the Foundry.
Right.
This is an attack. Rick looking to Pendlehaven, his dude.
Currently for 2.
Yep. And, okay, that's going to go through. Sam going to go up to 7 poison. And this is looking pretty rough for Sam here. Interestingly, the Spellskite can also steal the mutagenic growth that Sam has if he tries to do it on his Swift Spear.
Sure. So Sam is presenting a terrifying amount of damage, though.
He is just so there's the swing. It depends, how much mana he wants to leave up and stuff.
Right. Sam could just go for double mutagenic here and get in for what each mutagenic's for, right? So that would be 10 total.
Yeah, and that puts Rick to 7, but I don't know, because the thing is, like, well, I think Sam just does lose next turn.
So Sam could wait for no blocks to be declared, double mutagenic, bolt Rick. Rick will redirect, so it's still a 4-point bolt. And then with a redirect on stack, spell pierce it for another 2.
Is that lethal?
So that would be 4 plus 4 plus a base 2 is 10. The bolt is an additional 4.
Yep.
And then spell pierce is additional 2. So it looks like it's for 16.
Oh, that's so hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rick with another line here. Rick, I think, just wins the game. He's got Pendlehaven for the Ink Moth. He's got stuff for the Bolt. I guess his stuff can get spell pierced.
So I think Rick really needed to attack with this. Well, I guess with Sacred Foundry tap, so it's not even a concern.
He's gonna attempt to Blossoming Defense, and this is a lethal Blossoming Defense here. And Sam, like, he can't spell pierce the defense, and any bolt that he has will
be redirected.
Yes, and so that he's gonna realize that Rick Courtney gonna tie it up at 1 on Infect, does get there even though the unfortunate play happened with the Hierarch.
Yeah, Rick Sam's really surprisingly very close to winning that game.
Yeah, the thing is, Swift Spear attacks for so much.
Yeah, that would have been an attack for 16.
Yeah, Swift Spear with mutagenic is nuts.
Yeah, I think the math is correct, right? You got 2 base, 2 mutagenic, so that's 10. You bolt your opponent, so you get 2 more from that. It goes to 12. Your opponent will presumably redirect.
Yeah.
So that's 14.
Yeah.
And then with that on the stack, you can spell pierce it.
Yeah.
For 16.
Oh yeah. No, it's a lot of damage, to say the least. Yeah. So we watch the players, sideboarding again for game 3. This matchup feels like I don't know, I like it. It feels very tense, Like there's a lot of, like, because both players are playing decks that have so few lands, it's not like with Jeskai Control against Infect where you just sort of lock out the game at some point, where, like, you're just like, oh, I have like 5 lands and 3 removal spells or something in hand.
Right. And although I haven't played Sam's deck very much, I'm really not very fond of these Vapor Snags.
Yeah, I mean, Vapor Snag is a theoretical, like, bounce your Infect, dude.
Yeah, but, I mean, it doesn't get that much better the next turn, right?
Well, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's something you do in response to Pump. It's almost like another Spell Pierce.
Sure. But generally speaking, Rick won't be pumping, naked.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I think that. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I guess the question is, what else does Sam have that he could bring in that you would like better than the Vapor Snags?
Right. Well, so you already have cards like Mutagenic Growth, and if you're boarding in Thing Dice, it's almost necessary to have the Mutagenics, right?
Yeah, especially in a deck that doesn't play a lot of cantrips. Like, the dedicated Thing in the Ice decks play so many...
You play things like Manamorphose and, nonsense like that.
Yeah.
That, like, really can add your
spell count. Because the thing is like, Manamorphose is how you flip Thing in the Ice on turn 3. Like, you go Thing and then Manamorphose, 2/1 mana spells with your land, play another spell, or play a free spell with Phyrexian mana. And then you can also 9 them with your Thing in the Ice once you mute it.
Right. But, yeah, I think last game was a classic example of... just the long-term power of Infect, right?
Yeah, you just grind.
Sam kept a hand that was just mono answers.
Yeah.
And
lost.
Yeah, eventually, like, drew into some threats, but just a little too late.
Rick looking at a one-lander with no Infectors.
No, is that a Deflecting Palm in Sam's hand?
Yes, it is. He had it in his first hand last game as well.
Okay.
He's got, like, Double Probe, Spire Bluff... The Vapor Snag, Snapcaster.
Yeah, so the Deflecting Palm I'm really not a fan of here.
I don't disagree.
At best, you get in for like a couple points of damage. Again, it's
Yeah.
like a 2-mana answer, except this isn't even an answer.
Right. Like, because the thing is, if Deflecting Palm, if it went like, if it said target creature deals the damage, then it'd be funny. But like, you'd have to have multiple because unless they're Become Immensing you, the Infect player typically is not going to kill you in a single hit.
Right. Well, you do take normal damage from Deflecting Palm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? I'm saying, like, if Deflecting Palm worked in such a way that it, like, infected you.
Well, I mean, there is the argument of...
okay, that seems fine. So,
Yeah,
Rick has, like, Forest, Hierarch, Inkmoth. It's a little bit slow, but he also doesn't... I think this is an absolute keep if you're on 6 cards.
Right, absolutely. Yeah,
You can just leave the Inkmoth
I guess there is
back.
the argument for the Deflecting Palm in that it reads Source. So giving your creature hexproof or something just doesn't
work. Yeah.
So you actually need to fight a counter battle over it, which the Infect deck is pretty light on.
Yeah, I think the most counters that they have... I mean, we saw Rick has a Dispel. There's also Spell Pierce. Sam here going to start off with a Probe. Double... Oh, man, that's rough.
Okay, so a little less excited seeing this hand.
The double Become Immense is really hard. The thing is, like... So Tom Ross's most recent list from the most recent Modern Open for SCG plays 4 main deck Become Immense. With good reason. Like, in the testing that I've done with the deck, Become Immense is crazy good.
Sure. I mean, the problem is this hand...
Yeah, no, it's not...
So currently, you have no way of putting any cards in the graveyard, right?
Right. No, you're absolutely right, Dan.
And without any protection,
Yeah.
even, like, if this Noble Hierarch dies...
Oh, this Hierarch is going to die because Sam has Helix. So here's the thing is, like... Oh, and he drew another Helix, so he's got no fear. 21. Or no, he's going to go down 2 to... He's going to go 19. Okay. So yeah, now Rick is in a bit of a rough spot.
Mm-hmm.
Sam again has mono answers, but this time he has a Snap Monster.
Yeah.
So there's a Mutagenic. This is a card that this fuels the Tarmogoyf for the Become Immense, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Sam here, the thing here is, like, Sam now has enough lands that he has Helix plus Vapor Snag, like double removal spell essentially.
Right. Sam choosing to fire off the Get Probe again, just to cycle.
Just trying to cycle, get a peek. Yeah, this is not looking good for Rick. I would not be surprised to see Sam, like, snap Gataxian Probe. I've seen him do it before. And I don't really like Snap Probe, but I think also you just wait till turn 4 and then you snap Helix end of turn,
right.
And it's... Well, yeah.
Well,
that seems
what's
fine.
really rough about this, too, is Rick can't even attack with the Inkmoth, right?
No, you lose.
Yeah.
He has to just hope he draws into lands and protection.
Mm-hmm. Still doesn't have blue for Distortion Strike. Become Immense is, a year
He just drew
away.
a Rancor. Or an Elf, I can't tell what
If that's
it
a
is.
Glistener Elf, it's not terrible.
You just got to start grinding on Sam's removal, I think. No, but it's not. He's going to pass it back. Oh, wait, is it an Elf?
I think it is a Glistener Elf. I don't think you can play it here. Your hand is... I mean, you're under no pressure.
Right.
And eventually you're going to draw into, like, the cards you need, right?
That's the thing about Infect that's so scary, right? Is you're just like, oh, like, you don't have pressure on me. Cool. I'm not going to do anything other than draw cards and build the unbeatable Infect hand.
Right, absolutely. And
because sometimes the Infect hand is unbeatable, where you're like, oh, he just has more answers than I have spells. I'm dead.
Yep.
So we will see here. Sam gonna fetch end of turn for Steam Vents. Yeah. So one of the cards that Sam has that we've seen in multiples last game as well is this Spire Bluff Canal, blue-red Fastland from Kaladesh. Seeing a fair bit of play in a lot of, like, random blue-red jank stuff online. Sees play in this Hooglin list. Oh, great draw. Bolt for Sam. But also, like, in the Turbo thing in the ice list, referred to as Suicide Blue sometimes. Just, like, I don't know. It seems like a fine card. It also really helps the Storm mana base. I've tested it a little bit in Storm. Not having Sheevan Reef in Storm, so good. How can you lose? You don't take any pain from your Sheevan Reefs anymore, so they can't kill you as quickly.
So Sam, if he wrote down Rick's hand actually knows every card in Rick's hand.
Right. He can just be like, oh, this Glistener Elf is dead for free.
Right.
Like, there's no reason not to just kill this elf.
Yeah, especially with Snapcaster hands.
He has like 3 removal spells left. What
yeah.
the heck, man?
A Snap Helix would be perfect here.
I like Snap Helix because it uses the mana better, but...
Right. Well, Snap Helix also gives you a clock. I mean, it's a 10-turn clock, but it is pressure.
You do...
With
okay, there could be the argument to Snap Bolt here.
Sure.
So Rick gonna go to 17.
So
I don't like that as much.
I'm not as big a fan of this because it's just mana inefficient, right?
Right. I like having the Bolt in hand. I guess like he has another Helix and stuff, but like.
But with the Bolt in hand, you have much more flexibility.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, he does have enough mana to do everything, but I really am not a fan of like losing the and losing just like the 1 mana kill a creature. Like if that was Snap Helix, like yeah, he puts the clock on a little faster with Snap Bolt, but just a Snapcaster with no burn is an acceptable clock.
Well, Snap Helix isn't really much of a slower clock, right?
That's what
because,
I'm saying. Yeah,
you still have the Bolt in hand.
Yeah, you're right.
And with 5 land now, Sam is well in the range of just whatever he draws, he can play with removal up.
Draws a Finks here for Rick, and I actually really like that here.
Yeah, Finks is great. We have yet to see a Path to Exile in Sam's
I
list.
honestly don't think he's playing them.
It's very likely that he might not be. With like Helix and Bolt, all of that can be pointed to the face, and Path cannot.
So I'm gonna go look at Jeff Hoogland's list. Jeff Hoogland also, so I believe this is some version of Jeff's list. From the creature base that we saw. Jeff doesn't play paths either. His spell suite is 4 Bolt, 4 Helix, 4 Muta, 4 Vapor Snag, 4 Probe, 4 Serum Visions, and 2 Twisted Images.
Yeah. There are 2 paths in his board, though.
Okay. I would think that those would get boarded in.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly like Path better than
Rick up to
Vapor Snag.
Rick does go up to 16 here, and this this does represent like a pretty big roadblock for Sam.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just doesn't have a clock anymore.
Right.
Great draw from the Invictic deck.
And eventually, Rick can just sculpt a hand where he could, kill Sam with normal damage.
Yeah.
I mean,
pump my Kitchen Finks, end you.
Yeah. Let's not forget that Rick does have double Become Immense in hand.
He does. He also has double Might of Volcrosa right now. Yeah, buddy. Ooh, that is some scary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Sam does have the Become Immense, and this is, one of the instances where it's very good.
Sam has the Deflecting Palm?
Yes.
Yeah, you said Become Immense.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Sam has Deflecting Palm.
Yes. Sam does have everyone's favorite Deflecting Palm your Emrakul card.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one way where you just you don't lose to a crazy turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a total blowout. I don't know if Rick expects this at all. Interestingly, Jeff Hoogland also plays Deflecting Palm. I guess I don't know. It is sometimes just like a 4-point burn spell.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, Rick here looking at his hand. He can make his Kitchen Finks unblockable.
That's true.
Distortion Strike.
I don't hate that.
I actually don't either, because putting Distortion Strike on the Ink Moth taps him out right now.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Sam does have one thing that Rick lacks critically is he does not have a Blossoming Defense or a Vines of the Vastwood, which makes it impossible for him to protect his Finks in a reasonable way. But this is a swing, and right now, according to the best mathematicians around, Rick is winning the damage race.
Mm-hmm. Sam will go to 12 here, and with this attack, Rick is putting himself on the path to try to win through normal damage.
And you know what? I think that's totally fine, because the thing is, he can always audible back to the Infect plan if he draws a land and some protection.
Yeah. If Rick ends up drawing another creature, just a Glistener Elf or something.
Oh yeah, could force Sam to put out more removal.
Right. Then I like playing the flashback spell.
I don't know.
What's it called? The Distortion Strike.
Yeah.
Because then you can target your Infect creature if things go haywire the turn after.
Absolutely. Okay, so Sam does draw a Swift Spear, which is good.
Okay.
So this is an attack for 3. So Rick back on not winning the damage race train.
Yeah.
But we will see. Also, interestingly, Sam does have Vapor Snag myself for for Snapcaster value, which I think is one of the reasons that card is in the deck. The draw is, I think, a Vines of the Vastwood.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, so actually, no, so Sam still has double pseudo removal spell, so it's not good enough to, although, no, Rick does need more lands.
It just, if Rick goes too heavy on this Kitchen Finks, the Deflecting Palm will just kill him.
Which is kind of entertaining, let's be real.
Because Sam can go Deflecting Palm.
He's going to animate. Okay, he's got no fear. I guess you just, like, replays Inkmoth if it gets Vapor Snag, because you Vines the Helix, and then, yeah, so this is an attack. I mean, if you're Sam, you just let this happen.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do anything here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's attacking for one, not...
Okay,
not
that is a
second.
mutagenic growth. This might provoke a response.
With Rick only having one mana available, you can definitely fight over...
I like...
no, actually, I like just taking 3 here.
I do too.
You can Helix.
Oh, you're
end of
right.
turn.
It's better for Rick if he... Okay, so that is a Helix in response. So here's the thing, right? So Rick is going to Vines, and Sam will probably wind up Vapor Snagging this. But that doesn't matter because Rick will replay it, and now he's got Become Immense.
Right. Well, so the problem is, if Sam had gone for this later,
Yeah.
he still has available the line of like.
So Rick, I think Sam is actually just going to take it.
Yeah. Sam would have the line of Vapor Snagging my Snapcaster and get back Helix.
Right. You're right.
But with this line, Sam has just traded, a card for nothing.
Yeah, I don't disagree. We're gonna see what the play is here. Oh, so end of turn he's gonna go for the snag.
No, we've already untapped here.
Oh, sorry. Sam is gonna snag the Kitchen Finks. Is he trying to win the game here?
Yeah. So this is an attack for 4.
4. Rick gonna go to 7.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess. Okay, Sam has Deflecting Palm, and that is what matters here.
Sure. So if I was Rick, I would just replay the Kitchen Finks, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I think replaying Finks is 100% better because you get to gain more life, you get to keep Sam from killing you, and, like, yeah, because, like, if Rick goes for it, he's just gonna die.
Yeah.
Please, Rick, no, have...
Right, but if I was Rick, like...
Oh, he's got another land? Okay, no, Rick absolutely should play the Finks, please.
Yeah. Just so, with Sam having held a couple of cards this entire game, it's almost certainly that he has removal. And you, between, like, Blessed Alliance... Between cards like Blessed Alliance and
he's gonna lose the game of Deflecting Palm right here, right now. Please no.
Yeah.
Please have mercy. No, you can't play around Deflecting Palm here. No, because it's all damage-based removal so far, so you can pump out of range, but Deflecting Palm just kills you on the spot.
Right. Well, also Sam, like, very well could have just Blessed Alliance. Like, this play is...
Yeah, that's true. This is bold.
Yeah, this play seems incredibly greedy.
Distortion Strike?
Right.
Oh, wow, okay. And there's a swing.
Right.
Sam says no blocks. Rick says, okay, I'm going to fetch. Oh, no, we're watching it happen, Dan!
And see, this is why... well, one thing also is, like, by fetching here... What if Sam just had a bolt? If
In response to the fetch,
in response to the fetch, you
with
just
infect, you have to fetch before you animate always.
Yeah, I think so. And
but good God in heaven, this is gonna be so good. He's gonna lose the game to Deflecting Palm.
Yeah.
He's gonna become immense, and Sam's gonna be like, whoop 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 whoop. Here we go.
Yeah.
And there's no response from Rick that can do it, and yeah, that's gonna be it. Gonna have to... I think the game's over?
Yeah, Rick's gonna complete the resolution of this.
Yeah.
But...
And
yeah,
scoop up the cards. That's gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think if Rick tried to go just for the damage race, I think he would have been in pretty good shape.
Yeah, the other thing that Rick could do is, like, if he plays the Finks, he can just chip with the Inkmoth, right? Like, he can do, like, 2 or 3 or something, and really just not give Sam the opportunity to kill him with his own creature.
Right.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, huge Deflecting Palm there from Sam Schultz on Just Guy Aggro. Gonna take it 2-1 over Infect. Oh, I did the match record wrong. Yeah. So, gonna take it down.
Right.
You know.
It just so happened that Sam's choice of kill there was a deflecting pawn, but any Bolt would have done it, Snapcaster would have done it, Helix would have done it.
That's true because are you saying because Rick went in so unprotected?
Right.
Yeah.
Any removal would have been good there.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's fair.
I mean, Rick obviously felt like he was under pressure and had to go for it there.
Absolutely.
But with the Kitchen Finks, that's not necessarily true. He did have options there.
I 100% agree. We will. So I think that's probably going to be timing round. We can. There's almost certainly no one is starting game 3 right now.
Yeah.
So we can kick it back up to the booth for a little bit.
Yeah, it seems we're pretty much wrapping up this round here. So
yeah, second round should be starting relatively shortly.
So yeah, definitely an interesting deck. We've seen, in fact, for years now.
Of course.
And there are a lot of nuances there because a lot of times you don't draw the crazy hands. I think.
Sometimes you do get to turn 3 them, but that's very rare.
Yeah, I think Rick ended up with a hand that you often get with Infect, right? It's just like there are some good cards,
but there's also not some so good cards.
Right, and the importance I think is just sequencing, picking your battles.
Yeah, and I think that with Sam sort of giving him the option to play the Finks. Mm-hmm. And get even more life off of it. I think that I would have liked the recast there.
Right. The recast also would have left him. Rick might have thought he was really dead to a Path to Exile.
Right.
Which certainly would have been boarded in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Rick might have thought about that and thought the only path to victory is
go for it.
My opponent has nothing. I'm going to go for it now.
That's also true. I mean, sometimes you do get those hands with Infect where you're like, well, I guess, I lose the game unless I do this. And sometimes you lose. But, an astonishing large amount of the time, you do just win the game.
Yeah.
So
I think, though, with the way that played out, though,
yeah.
Rick put himself dead to any removal spell.
You're not, I think you're absolutely correct. Yeah. The fact that he wasn't punished for, fetching and not being, cognizant. Because the thing is with Blessed Alliance, your spell pierces are garbage. Rick had to have exactly Dispel to worry about that. So I feel like, you just sort of you sort of have to say, all right, if he has Blessed Alliance, this game's over. But I'm going to assume that he doesn't have his 2 of and just jam here.
Right.
I mean, but the fetch mid-combat, I think, was a little bit scary.
Yeah, and it's the Distortion Strike pre-combat as well.
Yeah, I think Distortion Strike. I'm not sure what it was. I feel like he also had a Might of Old Crosa and stuff. Well, so I would have liked that more.
Well, also he only needed to do 7, right?
Yeah.
So Become Immense plus just the one
just Become Immense was enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And there weren't going to be any Vendilion clicks being flashed in or anything.
Yeah. Although there, I believe there is a click in the board of Hoogland's list.
Sure. So that might be a play around, for that.
Possibly playing around the click, but I think you just have to YOLO, and unfortunately for Rick, the deflecting palm just, I don't know, outside of Dispel, you can't beat the deflecting palm in that circumstance there.
No, not at a position that late in the game. Spell Pierce earlier would have been fine.
Right,
but yeah, the
Sam had 7 lands or something, so it was not a...
Yeah, it's just being able to name a source rather than target is absurd, right? There's just no way to get around that.
This is why it works, when Jeskai Nahiri got popular, you had the real jokers saying, oh, I'm going to play Deflecting Palm and 15 you. And I mean... I don't know. It's you have to sacrifice 6 of your permanents, but if you float red, white, and cast Deflecting Palm, you might kill them, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, in those matchups, though, the deck playing the Emrakul usually has, spell snares and mana leaks and lots of things.
I mean, you basically have to just be hope they don't have this. Although they're also one of the lines that I would see frequently in order to actually kill your opponent with the deck was because you'd make every land drop and you'd animate Colonnade as well as play Emrakul, so then you have to have exactly Spell Snare or just Deflecting Palm. And then suddenly 15 damage going the other way.
Yeah, that's pretty big swing there.
Yeah. No, Deflecting Palm unfortunately rotating out of standard, so we can't we don't get to see Deflecting Palm against like the pummeler decks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll make like a 36-36 electrostatic pummeler. Cool, I'll Deflecting Palm you. All right, so we've got some pairings. What do you want to do
let's
here?
see. Who would we like to see here?
These guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we get Vincent Sydney?
All right. Looks like we're going to be firing round 2 here shortly.
Yes. Yeah, so we're going to be watching Vincent Adinolfi versus Sydney Lim. I'm not sure what Sydney's playing tonight.
I think he might be on Jund.
He might be on Jund.
Yeah.
Well, Vince is on a virtually creatureless Jeskai control with 2 main deck Ajani Vengeance and 2 main deck Sphinx's Revelation the card.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna see how this goes, but Vince is testing stuff for Dallas right now, and I don't know. He might be playing creatureless control not creatureless, but like Snapcaster Click Colonnade creatureless.
Yeah,
control.
I mean, well, removal is at an all-time good right now.
Yeah,
except
dude.
against Dredge.
Yeah, I mean, that matchup's unwinnable for Blue Red anyways. Like, there's just like nothing you can do. You like play turn 2 Rest in Peace and like hope they don't kill it before you kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Cubs fan, he's gone a little bit deep, but not as deep as we've seen. There used to be some really very janky Jeskai decisions being made around this shop. He did play a Gear Hulk in MKE. Yeah, and TX Rager, MTG Card Market will be coming to Dallas. Are you going, Dan?
I will not be going, but
You're not going, okay.
MTG Card Market will be vendoring there. So,
Gotcha.
Stop by, say hello, sell some cards, buy some cards.
Yeah. All right, so here we go for round 2. Vincent Adinolfi is going to be on the right there with his classic maroon sweatshirt. Sydney Lim going to be on the left. Vincent Adinolfi. Yeah, so Vincent really playing a much harder control deck than he normally plays.
Mm-hmm. Which, if you make the game go late, it feels great.
Right.
But a lot of times, if you get run over, and, holding Sphinx's Rev, holding Supreme Verdicts,
Yeah, don't talk to me like that.
Feels ridiculous.
It feels so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like this is playing all the spot removal and has like 2 main board sweepers, 1/1 split, Anger Verdict. For those of you who are watching, Vince and I like talk Jeskai basically all the time, and I will often just like sit with him as he builds for the night. So if I know a lot about the deck because I watched him put it together. I'm not like I don't have a deck list or anything. Jeskai control. And yeah, so there's the thing. So the critical part about Vince's list tonight is he doesn't have a way to win the game on the spot. There's no combo. Mm-hmm. So he's got exactly Colonnade, Snapcaster, Click beats, and burn spells.
And if Sydney is on Jund, you can't be punished too hard for that.
Yeah.
But against a lot of decks, if you're playing against a Valakut deck, not being able to quickly close out a game.
I feel like Valakut is super hard for this deck. Actually, like
No,
how do you win ever?
But the same also goes true for if you're playing against Tron. If you're playing against any of these decks that have inevitability,
Tron is always a loss. Tron has never been a win for a blue or red deck. I think ever.
Right. Well, and that's the problem, right? You're trying to apply a fair way of going long, and it just doesn't match up well against unfair decks that can go long.
So Cubs fan in the chat with a cheeky Jeskai question. All right, I have a Jeskai question for you guys. Have you considered cutting the blue and white for some black and green? I have, Cubs fan, and unfortunately, I considered it, and then I considered the TCG low for Liliana of the Veil, and then I stopped considering it. So we're on the Jeskai life for a while here, but it's fine. Like, I really do feel like there are some advantages. I mean, obviously not enough to like justify playing it over Jund, but A, I have fun with it. B, I own the cards. Also, like Cryptic Command, right? Like, counter draw your stuff. I mean, if they resolve a Liliana before you have Cryptic Mana, you lose the game, but that's beside the point, right? That never happens.
Yeah. Also,
oh my god.
Whenever Cryptic Command gets too popular, all of a sudden you see a lot of Thruns being played. Which is kind of a great card.
The word Thrun literally makes hair on my arms stand up and shiver. Like that card, when someone taps 4 green mana, I'm like, what's happening here? Is it a Kalitas? And then they're like, cast Thrun. It's like, well, I guess we're racing now, sir. Shall we do battle? Like, you just don't beat that card. You have to race it.
So
or you could have Wrath of God like a punk, but you only have that in the board and maybe as a one-of.
Yeah. Well, Wrath of God is not free, right? If you play against Merfolk and they, sack a Curse Catcher.
This is why you play
counter your
Supreme
Wrath of
Verdict as your primary Wrath.
Yeah.
If you're going to play three Wrath effects, you play, I think I guess 4 because you play like 1 Anger, 2 Verdict, 1 Wrath of God.
But you play too many Wrath effects, all of a sudden your super reactive deck, like, if they go Goblin Guide, and you're sitting on like double Supreme Verdict, that feels completely terrible.
Yeah, look, oh wait, I saw an island in Sydney's hand, Dan.
Ooh,
you may have deceived
This
me.
may not be John.
Did you deceive?
Oh, this is not John. That is a mana leak.
Is this a Delver deck? Oh boy. It looks like Grixis. It could be Grixis. I'm gonna put this as Grixis Delver.
Okay.
There's a click. Is it? Okay, so there's a delta. Oh wait. No. Has Sydney developed the desire to play mono blue Delver? Please. Please.
Well, we'll see. I don't think we've seen any other.
Yeah, we haven't seen.
Okay,
no,
it's
not mono blue. All right. I wanted to believe, guys. We saw mono blue get stomped by Bant Eldrazi, I think last week, and maybe this would be the redemption, but it's not. Sydney looking like he's on or some Grixis deck. I don't know. I have no idea. That's a disfigure. This doesn't look like Delver to me.
Yeah.
What's happening, Dan? Sydney's on Grixis.
Ooh, Sydney also playing again around Shadow of Doubt. Or did Vincent just pass?
I think Vincent might have missed a land drop.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is Sydney on blue-black? Dan, I'm so confused.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Disfigure Mana Leak deck. Yeah, it could just be blue-black.
Yeah,
I agree. Oh no, so he's clicking him on draw step, I think. And Vince is going to double fetch.
Yeah, the Disfigure makes me believe that there's no red or white in the deck.
Right, oh, of course. Because why would you play those colors if... and so Vince looks like he's going to 4 himself here to 16. Okay, so Cubs fan, there is a blue-black deck that exists. I did not know that, and that is good to know. Vince, you're going to Mana Leak the click on draw step. Obviously, sort of the best result of your opponent casting the card Vendilion Click.
Mm-hmm. But what this does mean is that...
Sydney gets to resolve something.
Sydney will get to resolve this Gormat Gangler.
Oh, he has a fish?
He might have a fish. That might be the card in
I think
front.
he's a Disfigure. I don't know if it's a fish. Ooh, that is a Drowned Catacombs?
That looks like that. Oh, that is
a Disfigure. Yeah. Oh, another click, though.
All right.
Sydney just firing clicks aplenty here. And Vincent maybe going to bolt this? Oh, no. Just going to reveal his hand.
We're going to see a Path, Anger, and a Snapcaster here.
Interesting. I'm wondering why Vincent didn't Path in response. I guess he doesn't care. He can anger it.
Yeah, I mean, if Sydney takes
Sunken Runes. You're right. In the chat, sorry.
If Sydney takes the... Excuse me, if Vincent takes the Path, Vincent just anger here.
Right, and it looks like the Path will get taken. I mean, I think the obvious choice is to take the Path, because Vincent, Sydney doesn't have Spell Pierce, but, Vince does just have to tap 3 mana main phase for the...
I mean, there is an argument for taking the Snapcaster, right?
Well, reverse value.
The Electrolyze is a pretty good draw.
Oh my god. That's pretty good there. Gonna go 1-1, I assume, just, split the damage. That's the worst possible way to lose your click.
Yes.
It just feels so bad. Did Sydney draw another click?
Looks like he drew another click, yeah.
That seems fine.
The problem now, though, is Vincent's going to soon have Snap.
Oh, he has it now. He has it now.
Right.
Sydney, with a bunch of Mana Leaks and Disfigures in hand, little does he know that the Disfigures are for naught.
So, playing a lot of Drago here.
This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Vincent, is actually hitting these land drops, and Sydney is starting
not.
to miss now.
This is really important, actually. In these control mirrors, I think Sydney has more counter magic in hand, but Vincent eventually is just gonna ram into Johnny.
Yeah, we're quickly getting out of the range of Mana Leak.
Sydney has double leak spell snare. It's all right. What's he got in hand here? What? What?
Not exactly sure what this card is.
Chat, please. What's happening?
Is that a Spell Stutter Sprite?
Oh no, it can't be. Is that the F&M promo Spell Starter Sprite?
I'm just not really sure what this is. Looks like Vincent drew another Electrolyze here.
It is a Spell Starter Sprite.
Oh, so it looks like City's playing fairies. That makes sense.
Oh.
Unfortunately,
that makes so much more sense. Why did we think of that, guys?
So,
multiple clicks? How could we be so wrong?
So yeah, it looks like Vincent drew another Electrolyze, which is kind of insane against fairies.
Fairies does not deal well with that card.
Yeah.
Vince has 3 main deck, by the way.
And
he's going to go 15 on the fetch?
14 double fetched here.
Okay.
Yeah, and Sydney,
really a lot of counter magic and actually nothing else.
right. I mean, this is exactly what the Jeskai deck wants to do, right?
Yeah.
Go long, under no pressure.
As long as Fairies doesn't have Bitter Blossom, this matchup is real nice.
Yeah, if Sydney had a turn 2 Bitter Blossom,
Vince would be in trouble.
I don't know how Vince wins this game.
He doesn't. That's how it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Alright, Vince with another land. Vince with, like, 8 lands in play right now? Just, that's crazy. And Sydney looking at his hand of, like, mana leaks. Because the thing with, and that's, I think he played a Tech Edge there. Another Spell Starter Sprite gonna come down. Sydney gonna untap and draw. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah. Well, Sydney is just pressured into playing these Spell Starter Sprites because he's going to have to discard if he doesn't.
Right, and, like, obviously Spell Starter Sprite, not super good. Vince
actually,
Vince is going to resolve, or I guess, like, Sydney has, like, all the mana leaks, but, like, Vince will eventually punch through a Sphinx's Rev bigger than the Earth. He's going to go to 12.
Well, actually, I take back my previous statement. It looks like Sydney only has 6 cards in hand, so it wasn't in the... wasn't in discard,
right?
Range yet. But Vincent's gonna try to play a Snapcaster. That's gonna get spell snared, and
feels bad.
Yeah, seems fine though. You're really not under any pressure here.
He has a Bolt too, or he has an Anger. He's gonna Anger here.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he can pay for double mana leak.
Right.
This is inhumane. This all for a Spell Starter Sprite. The thing is, it does leave, like, I guess he has Path for the Tar Pit.
Yeah.
This is the problem with the Fairies deck sometimes, is sometimes you just draw Super Threat Light, like Sydney was like, oh, I have 2 clicks, this is definitely fine. But Vince just had all the removal.
Yep.
And yep, Anger gonna exile the Spell Starter Sprite, Sydney gonna untap and draw. We're really seeing the sort of polarity of this deck without a, Bitter Blossom. Like, there's no... Without the Bitter Blossom, the Spell Starter Sprite is also pretty bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sydney just hasn't drawn any payoff cards, right?
Right, well, because, like, what are your payoff cards? Like, what? Mistbind Click?
Mistbind Click's very good. Especially being able to, use it to,
Time Walk.
Time Walk your opponent. Also, sometimes, protect a creature.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, champion your creature.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Vincent has just not missed a land drop
all game,
and has.
I think he also has a Tech Edge too. So, like, who cares?
Yep.
Boom.
And chooses just Tech Edge this.
I mean, I think that's the right play. You're not trying to go on the sec. If you're Vince, Sydney has, like, every piece of counter magic conceived by WotC.
Right. I mean,
Sydney with a
even
Vapor
if you
Snag
had
now.
bolts, you just save the bolts because eventually they can go face.
Yeah. I mean, whatever, dude. Just keep drawing cards. Wow. I think Sydney might have to discard or play a spell here.
Yeah. Looks like Sydney does have 8 in hand.
He's got a Slaughter Pact. I know that's one of your favorites. Sydney discarding Cryptic. I'm not sure that I like that here. I like discarding Leak much more.
I do too. I think Cryptic Command potentially
could counter something.
Could fight your way back into this game.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sydney tapping some mana here and is going to try to resolve a Bitter Blossom. Okay, this is where it gets real, but Vince is like, cool.
Yeah, with just how much mana Vincent has, it's just, you're not going to be able to win this.
Yeah. The Spell Snare also so good because, like, Mana Leak isn't going to do it. Like, you'd have to Cryptic back, and then if Vince has Counter Magic, like, he's got so many...
Right.
Oh, my God.
I think I
cards.
Yeah, I think I like discarding the Mana Leak just because at this point you're just kind of out of the range where Mana Leak does anything.
It does literal nothing right now. Vincent going to draw, and I think he just said go.
Yeah, Vincent, no pressure at all.
This is what Blue or Red does. It's just like, wow, there's no pressure.
Well, and also we see the difference here that Vincent managed to just not miss land drops for the first couple,
the first 12 turns or something.
Right. And,
Vincent with actual, like, hold on. 1, 2.
And unfortunately,
12, yeah, 12
Sydney
lands.
just being able, just forced to just throw these,
Spells into the trash.
yeah. I think he has a Vapor Snag in hand.
Okay, so he is going to get to Spell Snare, Helix, EOT.
So this is a play that I'm not really a fan of that Vincent made. Vincent saw that Sydney had 8 cards
and
chose to
Helix.
do something.
Another Bitter Blossom here. This is probably going to get fought over.
Yes.
And yeah, the thing is Mana Leak doesn't work here. But if Sydney could have Cryptic back, he has Cryptic. I lied.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually a real thing. Nope, he's just gonna. I think you should have fought over that super hard. Like, there's no other single spell in the deck that really does it against. That really does stuff against Blue or Red like Bitter Blossom does.
Right.
It's so good. It's unbelievably
It's by far the best
good.
card. On the flip side, though, Sydney doesn't know what Vincent's win con is.
Right.
So if you fought over this and then Vincent went and played a Nahiri,
Yeah.
you lose the game.
Right. Also, if Vincent, has Resto Kiki here, which Sydney might think he does because honestly, that's what Vince always is. Whoa, that's a Batter Skull.
Yeah.
Boom, shaka. You need to tap one more for that, by
It
the
looks
way.
like he's tapped one short there. But
And there's the 5th. Okay. Vincent gonna oh my god. That is the most value Mana Leak.
yeah, this is like a turn 20 Mana Leak. That's still good.
Like how does win?
Despite,
Vincent just like animating Colonnade here.
Yeah.
I guess Sydney's discarded the Disfigure at this point. But like, look at this. Vince can animate Colonnade and leave up 1,000,000 mana.
Yeah, Vincent is in double activation mode. Double activation territory. And
He could activate 2 Colonnades if I don't know if he has 2 though. So Vapor Snag from Sydney here. I feel like you're fine if you're Vince. I lied. Vince has more value to get out of his Mana Leaks. Vapor Snag here from Sydney again. Vince is like,
this I think you have to let resolve.
Sure, why not?
Uh,
He's gonna float mana off the Colonnade and put it in his hand, and then his mana pool's gonna empty and stuff. But yeah, he puts the Colonnade back down and passes with 4 mana up. So now Sydney here. The problem here is like Sydney needed to hold on to something big until he could force that fight and now resolve it. But instead he draws another Mana Leak, and his hand is like double Disfigure Mana Leak.
right.
Like, he has a Tar Pit, I guess, which he can animate the Tar Pit and have Leak up for it, so that seems fine, but Vince can just path the Tar Pit and pay. Like, this does not seem great. I guess, yeah, because Sydney doesn't have double Leak.
Yeah, I think Sydney is fine with this resolving.
That's all of his pressure, though.
Yeah, but this is not... there's no way the tar pit goes the distance.
You're not wrong. I just, like... It's I think, like, it must feel like very... Like, I guess the thing is, like, eventually Sydney will draw all of his fairies.
Yes.
But, like... And Vince here, gonna play a click. This will get leaked. I think, yeah. Okay, that's the leak. But yeah, so Vince like rotating with a full extended forearm.
Yeah, the leak I think is more to protect information.
Yeah,
than it is
that's true.
Because
Sydney with the ability to slaughter pact here is pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, Vince though. Vince does not care.
Okay.
Oh wow, yeah,
so
this is
Sydney
good.
could double slaughter pact and pay for.
I don't know if he has. He doesn't have double pact.
he
he has pact double disfigure.
Okay. So
he has to slaughter pact here and then hold up double disfigure for the next one.
Right. You just can't afford to take 8 here.
I mean, he's gonna disfigure one, and then slaughter pact the other.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince is gonna. I probably not. Oh, please, Vince, have mercy. Okay, he's just gonna float in Helix.
Yeah, just float some mana, use the Helix.
Okay, so Vince up to 17. Sydney goes to 11 from the Helix, and then takes 2. So Sydney goes to 9.
Yep.
I don't know if I like blowing the disfigure like that. I think that you needed to. I think that double disfigure was your out to the other colonnade, which, by the way, is like Vince's win con. I think this is a bitter blossom here too. This gets to resolve. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
This might be a little too,
a little too late.
A little too late.
Yeah. Sydney does remember to pay for Pact too.
Yeah. So I mean, crucially in this.
Here comes another colonnade hit.
Right.
I mean, Sydney can bounce it with a cryptic, I guess, but Vince if Vince has anything, he can gets to attack. Disfigure again coming down from Sydney, so this is only a 2 damage hit. Mm-hmm. But Vince is fine with that because I think Vince probably is just going to wind up burning him out.
Let's not forget.
Oh, a Johnny Vengeance, I lied.
Yeah.
Did he might have Helix? Oh,
Helix.
Oh
and
God,
then
yeah.
The Bitter Blossom trigger on this.
Yeah.
Upkeep. So yeah, this was a really interesting game. Certainly Sydney's draw was not good.
Of course.
He ended up drawing into a bunch of answers, a bunch of removal. A bunch of counter magic, a bunch of removal against a deck that wants to do neither of those things.
Absolutely.
So naturally, was a little bit unlucky there, but Vincent's line of just not doing anything was also absolutely correct. If you're not under any pressure there, force your opponent to...
You just make land drops and make your opponent lose card advantage by discarding.
Exactly. Especially with, knowing that the Fairies deck plays cards like Mana Leak.
Yeah.
If Mana Leak just got so out of range so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and TX Rager, I do agree with you here. I think that the use of the disfigures in back-to-back turns was suboptimal compared to just disfigure your both at once. Because that kills the colonnade and, while it probably doesn't wind up mattering because of a Johnny and stuff, it's really, really good to, I feel like it's a very strong play.
Yeah, and also...
to get rid of a colonnade, and... Because then Vince, this is virtually win-conless Jeskai.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's colonnade, snap, burn.
With double disfigure, that's one of the few ways in this Fairies deck to kill something. We didn't see any dismembers, but presumably it's running some.
Yeah, I mean, Slaughter Pact, some disfigures, some dismembers,
So, yeah, based on what we saw, I believe we saw about half of Sydney's deck. It was really configured in a way to, answer things coming down.
Yeah.
But not actually answer things that had resolved.
Right, and I mean that's that's the problem is it doesn't, with blue black and no third color, it doesn't have access to a lot of that harder removal. And also the thing is I can see because the thing is with the Fairies deck is if you stick something early and then you just Mana Leak everything they do for the next 3 turns, that's fine, you win the game because you just Bitter Blossom.
Yeah, Spellstutter Sprite gets a lot of value later in the game.
Absolutely.
If if it becomes 2-mana counterspell.
For sure.
But this will certainly get better for Sydney post board.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see how much removal, how much counter magic he takes out, if any.
Mm-hmm.
Just the nature of the deck, it's just not very proactive.
Right. Yeah, and because the thing is Vince, I guess Sydney's problem is that the counter magic is only good if it's actually protecting his threats.
Yeah.
Right? The counter magic is bad against the deck that's playing not 1 but 2 Sphinx's Revelation in the main decks.
Right. And Vincent's answers are just so cheap as well.
Yeah,
his
you're
answers
just
are Bolt. His answers are Bolt and Path.
Bolt, Path, Helix, Electrolyze. Electrolyze, by the way.
Yeah.
Super nutty, that game.
Yeah, I mean, the Electrolyze... part of the reason why Vincent didn't miss any land drops is, he did draw, 2-3 extra cards.
Yeah.
But... ultimately, this was always been one of the weaknesses of Fairies.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can get ahead, you
do stay ahead pretty well.
You can often stay ahead, but
Bitter Blossom into Mistbind, into Vendilion, into Mistbind is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem here, is if Sydney just sticks that Bitter Blossom that I see on the right.
Yeah.
Vince has the difficulties.
With Vincent, getting a little greedy with, his revs, his.
Oh no! Represent the spell snare, please.
Just you shaved. You shaved on a lot of the real answers.
Oh
right?
god,
so
this is bad.
The
Bitter Blossom's so good.
The Jessica deck has shaved on a lot of the actual hard counter magic.
Yeah.
So
and
a
Vince
lot
is
of
playing
can't fight over this.
4 leak, 3 cryptic, 2 snare.
Oh, he's playing 4 leak.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he is.
So this Bitter Blossom, it's a slow clock, but it's a very real clock.
Oh, I mean, it's like, I think it's what, like 5 or 6 turns lethal.
And you do have a couple sweepers, but Vincent very likely have boarded out some number of these sweepers.
Oh, he's got a Wear Tear in hand, but no White Source.
That's quite awkward.
Oh wow, that's really good.
Yeah, so
Wear Tear, great card. Not having a White Source,
not
bad
only
card.
that, Vincent having the discard here. Ooh.
Sydney goes for the EOT click and it gets leaked.
So this is a play that I feel very strongly against.
Because
if your opponent has 8 cards in hand and
make
moves,
them discard.
moves the end step, make them discard.
Yeah.
Even though that the click there was pretty good.
Right. Vince needs to deal with this Bitter Blossom, I think.
And Sydney also representing.
Oh, Vince just has to discard again.
Yeah. So this is actually a big tell as well that yes, Sphinx's Rev is probably the right card to discard, but now your opponent knows that you're like super greedy, Jeskai list.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure that wasn't apparent when the Ajani hit the board.
Johnny is a
duress?
reasonable card.
Okay, that's a duress. Sydney's going to see all the things. Unfortunately, none of them, for Vince, none of them are lands.
So I think here, just the Wear and Tear seems like the obvious choice.
I mean,
here.
the Bitter Blossom will win the game on its own.
Yeah,
Very shortly.
Electrolyte's also a good target, but with Cryptic in hand and Mana Leak,
Yeah.
you're just never losing to that.
For sure, for sure.
For those following the Cubs game as well, it looks like they are up 5-1.
They're up 5-1 in the bottom of the 5th with 2 outs. So that's going quite well as we get the update here. I am sure that we will hear noise through the storefront and the door into this room if and when the Cubs should win.
Yeah. So this what Sydney's well, I mean,
the other thing is Sydney now has spell. Oh wow. Okay, so this is a 5.
yeah.
Gross.
So Vincent going to try to bolt here.
Bolt the Mutavault.
We'll see if Sydney wants to tap
leak.
out for this.
Well, he knows Vince has a snare though.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
I'm a little less excited about this play with Sydney knowing that Vincent had the bolt. Just because eventually that bolt has to hit a Bitter Blossom token.
Right, and that's just atrocious.
Yeah. And this also means that
if Vince at any point draws a White Source, he does get to Snap Tear, but it might be too late. And also Sydney's got the counter magic in spades.
Right. So yeah, just with Vincent not being able to hit a third land.
Sorry, Otomo.
This is just well out of range.
Yeah. Gonna go for a 4 here. Gonna put him to 9. It might actually be 8. I might have missed a point last time.
Hilariously, Sydney also has a play of playing Cryptic Command and bouncing one of the lands.
One of Vincent's lands?
Yeah.
Oh, that seems fine. Oh god, this game I think is probably over.
Actually, I don't hate this play on upkeep. Upkeep a Cryptic Command, bounce one of your lands. That means that Supreme Verdict is no longer good.
Yep.
Because you either have to fight
Vince
over it.
needs double white for that though.
Yeah. So here I like Cryptic Command, counter that, bounce one of your lands.
Sure. Why not? Like, Vince is completely tapped out. Just get it. Oh, he's just going to leak.
Just leak. Okay.
Just save it. Vince going to go to 4. Vince, I think, is dead here. And I think is that the... Just not finding the lands? What is he...
Yeah, just not finding the lands in time.
I'm just trying to think about what he has to live here. And I don't know if he does. Because also Sydney has Cryptic.
Yeah. Yeah, if Sydney just showed
Cryptic
Vincent his
command.
hand...
Turn the team sideways, and there's no Trickery in Vincent's hand for this one.
Yeah, there's just nothing.
And yeah, he's gonna scoop it up. That's obviously a little bit frustrating, not being able to draw that third land for so long.
Yeah, but I mean,
it happens.
It was a risk with the keep, right?
You're right. No, I mean, he didn't have any additional card draw either. That's one of the things with.
Well, this build there is no card draw outside of Electrolyze and Sphinx's
and
Rev, right?
and
There's no Supreme Verdict. Excuse me, there's no Serum Visions.
Right.
So you're not ever going to draw out of this. But I mean, on the draw, a 2-lander.
I would given what I saw, especially because it had Wear Tear.
Yes.
Even without the White Source, I feel like I absolutely keep that, because if you Wear Tear their Bitter Blossom the turn after they play it, that's enormous.
Yeah,
that feels
very good play.
really, really good.
This is also going to change quite a bit with Vincent being on the play here.
Yeah. Because he can have leak for the Blossom,
Right.
which is just atrocious for the Fairies deck.
Now, one nice part about being in block is you are able to board in things like Duress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe Thoughtseize.
Thoughtseize for sure. Yeah, some of the Fairies decks run a couple of those spells main, running them. But like I mean, we saw there Sydney did have a Duress that he brought in from the board, I believe. So, yeah, I don't know, man. This seems like that game was sort of a non-game, honestly. And the first game was a little bit of a non-game from Sydney's side just because of how threat light his draw was.
Yes.
I mean, okay, I guess like 2 clicks isn't a terrible draw, but against like the all kill your X1's deck, it's pretty hard.
Now, and it's worth pointing out, imagine Vincent's draw where he had hit lands, but he didn't have the wear and tear. He would still be in very rough shape.
Oh, he'd be in a mess.
Right. Sydney really only had to do one relevant thing that game, is that's play the turn 2 Bitter Blossom, and it's
tap black in a generic mana and cast the
and
spell
it's just
Bitter
very
Blossom.
difficult to answer. Vincent, boarding the wear and tear is good because you saw things like Batter Skull.
I mean, if you're against the Fairies deck, you bring in wear and tear no matter what. Right. If they could you
probably also bring in the Purge.
Yeah, oh for sure. Yeah. You know, and they know that you know. That you know that they know. But anyways, like that, obviously Bitter Blossom is the best card.
Right. And just with how few spell snares these decks run.
Yeah, Vince has 2, but that's like a lot for these decks. Normally they have 1 or
2 is still a lot. I mean, the problem with this Jeskai deck, ever more so now, is that a lot of times people can get under you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people just they stick stuff under you and then they kill you with it before you can do anything. Vince here, looking at a hand, I think he has more lands this time.
Certainly has more lands.
I think
and a vault.
I think it's a spell snare maybe, but I think this is going to be a keep for him.
Yeah.
He's going to start off on a Scalding Tarn. Sydney looks like he's keeping 7-2. We are underway in game 3 here. And Sydney going to start it off with a Tar Pit. Vince going to go to 19 on the fetch.
So this is a play that I'm not crazy about in these like super heavy control decks.
Which is?
Fetching.
Okay.
All you really want to do here is just hit land drops.
Right, and taking the fetchable land out of your deck means you can't draw it.
Right. I mean, fetching once, not too big of a deal, but you're not doing anything next turn. And without Sydney's deck having burn, this it's not like you can be really aggressive as well.
Yeah. I really hope Vince has a spell snare in his hand right now, because otherwise this is not the play.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like Sydney has the turn 2 Bitter Blossom anyways.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Okay, so gonna pass it back to Vince here. Vince untap, draw, play land. Sydney end of turn, play Spell Stutter. Vince is fine. Like, the Spell Stutter, in my mind, is not very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Like, it's a 1/1, and, like, okay, you don't... Every single set review, there's always, like, a 1-drop 1/1 flyer, and, like, every single time LSV's like, don't play this card. And every single time it's like, oh.
But the thing is, if you do have a Bitter Blossom, if you have any board built, all of a sudden it becomes counterspell for a lot of times.
Yeah. So, Vince, has another land here. Sydney draws a Duress, which will allow him to start stripping Vince's hand, which is quite good. Yeah, just Duress you. Can pay for leak. Vince going to show him the hand. Spell Snare, Mana Leak, Lightning Bolt, 2 more lands. Vince can do the play of play double Tech Edge, put you on 2 lands.
Yeah.
I actually like that a lot. I like that more than I should, probably, but that seems quite good here.
So I don't believe Sydney has missed a land drop there.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, but setting Sydney back 2 lands, I think, like, the double Tech Edge play is just so strong.
Well,
sometimes.
The problem is you can't cut them off a color. So all of a sudden, what does the Sydney's not trying
Does
to?
Sydney have a Spreading Seas?
Yeah.
It looks for a second like
Sydney's not trying to do anything like egregiously mana hungry either.
That's true. Yeah, and TX Rage, you're right. Spell Stutter, definitely the best 1/1 flyer that that exists because of Flash and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's also excellent, in the meta right now. If they try to play, there's a lot of 1-drops that people are trying to
There
play.
are a lot of 1-drops that just die to naked spells, just naked spell
spells.
setter.
Yeah.
Gonna hit a... And that's the Batterskull.
Right. So,
Vince does not have the answer to this, and this is why I liked Double Tech Edge.
but you never knew, right?
Yeah,
you just didn't know. Double Tech Edge also effectively taps you out.
Yeah.
Although you do have the spell snare, so you can't get Bitter Blossom or anything.
I don't know. This is going to be super hard with the Batterskull on the field. It's a 5-turn clock, which is pretty quick.
Yeah, 5-turn clock. It's
Plus Sydney's got all this disruption.
Yeah, unlikely Sydney has Psionic Blast in his deck, so you know exactly what this clock is going to look like.
Excuse me. All right, Dan.
Well,
Dan with the Psionic Blast references this week, guys. I was all about it last week, but yeah, blue char, it happens sometimes.
Without any burn, that's. That is one of the downsides of playing blue-black. It's just, you have no closing speed.
Yeah.
Your opponent knows exactly how much damage he's going to take here.
Yep. Beep boop, look at that.
And also, Sydney, if he's keeping track of his hand, knows that 2 of Vincent's card,
Our lands?
are bolts and spell snare.
Yeah, which is quite bad.
Vince
has to pass it back. There's going to be a draw step for Sydney. He's got another land here.
Yeah.
He does have a Spreading Seas, and that is going to target Vince's Celestial Colonnade. That is going to also run directly into the spell snare in Vince's hand. Oh, but wait.
Ooh,
Vince has both of them. No. You animal.
Okay, so...
Sydney does have another Spreading Seas, so he's going to go to 19 and fetch and play the other Spreading Seas now.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate, because that means that Vince's Colonnade, no longer can activate, and then you're in real trouble because you can't block.
But you really weren't activating it. I mean, I guess you can activate the block.
Yep, that's what you have to do sometimes. Oh, goodbye. Bye-bye, Senor Colonnade.
So this one...
this one gets the result because Vince doesn't have a third spell snare.
Yeah.
All right. Attacking Sydney to 23, Vince to 14.
Yeah. Also, importantly, by freeing up double spell snare, all of a sudden your mana leak might be live.
Yes, agreed. Vince also going to fetch to 13. He needs to draw the Wear Tear here, because obviously Sydney can bounce and replay the Batterskull and stuff.
Vincent has a 1-turn window here where he can
Wear Tear the Batterskull.
Wear Tear the Batterskull.
Yep.
Past this, Sydney just doesn't have to do anything.
Agreed. Yeah, this is real spooky. Yeah. This is not looking great for Vince's Batterskull, obviously. Very resilient win con. The bounce it to your hand ability is obviously quite silly.
Yeah, so
Vince does EOT Tech Edge here.
Sure, you're gonna Tech Edge the Creeping Tar Pit. Tar Pit not great with Vincent, holding the bolt.
Mm-hmm.
But
so Vince plays in a Johnny.
And it's going to Helix the token and bolt it as well.
All right. So Vince's going to go to 16 as well.
And it looks like Vincent is Hellbent. So this Batterskull
No, he's got 1 card face down right here.
Oh, 1 card face down.
I think it's a bolt. Maybe it's not a bolt, actually.
Okay, so...
Interesting.
So Sydney can bounce the Batterskull, end step here, and then replay it next turn?
Yeah, I agree. But in the meantime, Johnny is going to just start plussing. Obviously not a real threat right now. Sydney EOT bounce. And Sydney has all the counter magic to make sure this Batterskull...
Right.
No, he doesn't. He just has to tap out.
Yeah.
So Vincent drew a...
Ooh, but we're going to say... playing the
please.
Bitter Blossom means he has Spell Snare and Mana Leak.
This is a problem.
Yeah.
And Vince... what do you do? What do you do? Vince, that's going to resolve Scepter of Dominance. Please, chat. Have mercy. Vincent, was that a minus?
No,
it's a plus. It's a plus.
Yep.
He's going to keep plussing and make Sydney kill his thing. 3 mana. Crucible. Oh, please! Vince, Dispel good. Crucible resolves.
Okay, so Vincent has a play of getting tech edge and tech edging Sydney
Please do it, yes.
off of Batter Skull.
Yes. Oh my god, because Sydney, he doesn't get to untap that land.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But
Vincent isn't out of the woods by any means, but can we agree that this is kind of silly now?
yeah, this means Vincent no longer will miss a land drop.
Wait, no,
all game.
Sydney could just draw untapped land and do it.
Yes.
But he didn't, and that means that it is absolute go time for the tech edge you every turn plan.
Yeah, this is just going to...
Put Sydney to, one land eventually or whatever.
Well, no, you can't tech edge the basic.
Sorry, yeah. This is insane. Vince gonna bring back the tech edge, and he's gonna just do it again. Wasteland you every turn as long as you have 4 or more lands is really good, and he's gonna pass. And this forces Sydney to, really commit stuff, right? Like, you have to do things, but you can't because you don't have good cards. Sydney has, Spell Pierce and stuff, but that's not it right now.
Just drawing the answers a little bit too late here.
Yeah. Gonna go after Vincent's life with the Bitter Blossom. I'm not sure how much I like that with this Ajani in play. I guess the Bitter Blossom is just good.
Yeah, and also you can't really deal damage to this Ajani in increments that matter right now.
That's true. Vincent, oh man. Oh, okay, wait. So there's a response of is that a click?
Yep, that's a
That's
click. No, that's a Scion.
Ooh. But Vincent has the Cryptic to counter bounce your Bitter Blossom.
And you no longer have a black source.
Oh my god. No. Vincent Adenolfi!
Yeah.
Do you believe it? He has okay, so he has the black source now. Okay.
Still has a black
my
source. Can we
God.
play this?
Still though, taking him off a lot of tempo here.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, this showcases not the power of any of this. Showcases the power of Dispel.
Yes, absolutely. Doesn't get countered by anything. So here's what Vincent will do is Sydney will have to tap his black source to cast a Bitter Blossom. Vincent will untap, tech edge your Darkslick Shores, and then tap down and then frost the swamp with his Ajani.
Yep.
And then he never has black again, ever, in the whole game, for his whole life.
Well, I mean, Sydney can always
Draw another land, but
draw a fetch.
But look, Dan, oh wait, Sydney's definitely not at 12. He has to be at I think 19.
I mean, he's
There's-
life
he's- is
pretty high, especially
yeah.
considering he got a Batter Skull hidden.
Yeah. Okay, so Vincent pluses on that, and now he's gonna tech edge the last non-basic, and Sydney now on 3 lands for the rest of the game.
Which isn't necessarily on 2 lands effectively.
Yes, on 2 lands for the rest of the game, which is a problem.
But,
He just has to kill the Ajani.
but not backbreaking.
Yeah, he still has the Bitter Blossom.
Yeah, if Sydney sends both out of Johnny here, he can kill it next turn.
Yeah, assuming Vince doesn't, want to blow a removal spell and keep the kitty cat alive.
And Sydney's still, right now, Spellstarter Sprite is just counterspell.
Okay, so Vincent here gonna frost down gonna frost down one of the tokens, so that Ajani stays alive. Yeah, this is 18%.
Again, one of the this bears repeating, but one of the downsides of the fairies deck is just no closing speed.
Yeah.
You can't bolt something.
There is another Bitter Blossom in hand for Sydney though, so Vince might be a little bit sad that this happened. 2, gonna go towards the Ajani, put it to 1. But this Ajani has soaked up so much life, and now the turn goes back to Vince. So we'll see what he does. Vincent has no business being in this game, but he somehow is.
Right. And Vincent's slowly starting to draw his way out of this. Importantly, will not miss a land drop for the rest of the game.
That's really big. And Sydney obviously can't make any more. Sydney has to draw all of his lands. Yeah. And so this is going to be a swing at the and Vince here is going to animate Colonnade and attempt to block. Sydney doesn't have hard removal. He has Vapor Snag. Oh, that's good. So Vince's going to go to 14 and Johnny going to get off the table.
Yep. Yeah, Sydney also, with kind of a greedy attack, choosing to actually only send 2 at a Johnny.
Oh, really? So Vince is at
Vince
12?
should be at 13 here.
No, because he took 1 from the token and 1 from the snag.
Oh, right. Strip 12. Yeah, and despite all
of Vince's Herculean efforts. And yeah, the problem is he still doesn't have a way to kill the Bitter Blossom.
Right.
I don't know what's in hand. And also, having to replay the Colonnade means he can't tech edge that Dark Slick, which means that Sydney's an untapped land to play away from playing his Battered Skull.
Unfortunately, Vincent, despite having many lands
no, he
accessible in his
drew
graveyard,
I guess if Vince has counter magic, but first there's an attack, put him to 7.
right. Vincent, despite having so much land in the graveyard,
Yeah.
Also keeps drawing lands.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard.
And without a Desolate Lighthouse or some way to get rid of these are just dead
Yeah,
draws.
This isn't great. He needs a sweeper, and I don't think he has one.
Yeah.
Okay, so tech edge into play from the yard.
Force to play the Tech Edge for the Mutavault.
Okay, and tech edge, target your Mutavault.
Yeah.
Get it out of here. So Sydney again still on I need to draw Battered Skull lands, but Vincent is almost dead to the swing here. So I think his out is like draw Verdict.
But Draw Verdict is just a temporary reprieve.
Yes, but honestly at this
a
point
much
you'll
needed
take it.
one.
Swing, Vincent gonna go to 1?
Yep. Now again, there's been a lot of life total changes here, so we might be off by a point or two.
Yeah, we might be off by a point or two either way. I can see that. The thing is like Verdict does it for a turn or so. Draw step, card, flip it over. I don't know. I don't think that was Verdict. He might have the thing. He can't snap Cryptic either because Sydney has Spell Snare.
Mm-hmm.
So Vincent is heartbreakingly doesn't look like he's going to be able to draw out of this, and there's a click end of turn. That's going to do it. Vincent Adenolfi going to go down 2-1 against Blue Black Fairies. That was a hell of a third game.
Yeah, I mean, just really showcasing the power of Bitter Blossom.
Yeah.
There's a reason why this was on the ban list for such a long time.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously the deck hasn't become completely out of control, but the Bitter Blossom returning basically made it an archetype. Obviously the Extended Fairies deck, I wasn't playing back then, but from everything I've heard, the Extended Fairies deck was just nuts.
Right.
Because it's basically this deck.
Right, the Extended Fairies deck was very powerful. The Standard Fairies deck was also incredibly powerful.
Right, because they just printed all the Fairy Tribal in Lorwyn and Shadowmoor or whatever.
So actually, taking a look at how these players boarded, if we throw it back to the player area.
Go back down.
Looks like Sydney brought in
Counter Squall,
a couple of Duresses, Spell Pierces, Spreading Seas.
Spreading Seas seems like a good answer to Colonnade.
Yeah. Also, I think that Sydney just has so many bad cards like this figure that has more
Vince
than enough.
cutting the anger of the gods and 2 paths and 2 Helices.
I think I like that. He looks very mediocre against this deck.
He looks mediocre, but I'm not sure about anger.
Anger does give you a sweeper, but
I like sweeper effects. Just me. Against the Fairies deck where you're killing everything they own.
But again, think of the boards where you're trying to sweep, right? You're trying to sweep boards that are exactly against Bitter Blossom.
You're right.
I mean, they're never going to build a board big enough that it's going to matter.
Yeah.
Going back to what we were saying, this game just showcasing the power of Bitter Blossom and why people were afraid of it coming off the ban list.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's difficult to have an answer for it, especially in a shell where if you don't answer it immediately.
Yeah. Vince showing off some Porphyry nodes. Yeah. Not sure those are good against Bitter Blossom. I guess it keeps it at parity or whatever.
Yeah, parity. Yeah, it just does 1 damage to you every turn.
Yeah.
Without a way to answer it immediately, all of a sudden the Fairies deck untaps with Spell Starter Sprites, with Spell Snares, Mana Leaks. Yeah. All of a sudden, even your answers are unlikely to resolve.
Enough. Yeah.
And against a Bitter Blossom, Spell Starter Sprite is blatantly unfair.
Oh,
right.
Absolutely. Because you're just it's turn 3, I'm going to counter your 3 drop.
And for those not familiar with the card Bitter Blossom, it's important pointing out that it is a tribal enchantment.
Right. So this counts as a fairy for your cards that have Fairies Matters on them. Right. This matters because if we look at
Spell Starter Sprite, this will count as a fairy.
Yes. So Spell Starter Sprite with a Bitter Blossom in play counters a spell of CMC 2 or less.
At least.
Well, yeah. So with a Bitter Blossom and no token, it does that. With any tokens in play, just you make a token a turn, they play 1 land a turn, unless they have some sort of acceleration.
All of a sudden, Spell Starter Sprite is a 1/1 counter spell.
Right, and obviously, Wizards loath to print counter spell into Modern, and Spell Starter Sprite acting as one for even a easier to cast mana cost. It takes some setup, but if if it goes well, Spellstarter Sprite can just be devastating.
Yeah, and I mean, it has you have interesting tribal synergies as well with Mutavault. Mutavault also counting for the fairy count. And, not to forget, we saw Sydney play Scion of Una, too, which is a Flash Lord.
Yeah. We will... Scion of Una.
Yeah.
Bring it up on the... Oh, I'll put the card image up here.
And this, I mean...
Gotcha.
This is so much,
Other fairies you control have Shroud. It's kind of nutty.
This is not an irrelevant line either.
Yeah.
You can flash this in as, protection, like for your Vendilion click or your...
Mm-hmm. You can also play it like... I'm going to play end of turn Scion of Una, and if you don't have it, like, I just put, 5 power on the board because I Anthem all my fairies.
Mm-hmm. Also a fun interaction, if they go and wear your Bitter Blossom...
No.
Bitter Blossom Safari.
Oh.
It's a fairy with Shroud now.
I didn't even think about that. Oh, no. It's a disaster.
So, yeah, these interactions have... it's also, if they try to...
Please, Watsy.
If they try to Ghost Quarter or Tech Edge your Mutavault, you can animate it into Flash and Scion of Una.
Yes. That is a thing you can do.
The fairies, just, they have clunky hands, but...
Sometimes they just destroy
Right, the
you.
Synergistic elements, much like Merfolk, are incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about, that's what's cool about the deck, right? Like, sometimes, sometimes obviously, like, it goes great, and you really get that really powerful synergy draw, but other times, like, as we saw, like, Game 1, for example, you can sort of draw the wrong half, and it can become a challenge. So, we're going to look at this list for the next round. Hang on a second.
I'm going to see...
Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you
go? So we're gonna have a bit of a different match here.
Yeah. So coming up next on camera, we are gonna have Nick Gajeri, who is 1-1 right now, but is probably the most sort of off the chain brewer in the entire shop. Like, I very distinctly remember Nick playing stuff like... Oh, so he played a Horror Tribal one week with Thing in the Ice and Hunted Horror. Because this... wait, that didn't work. Come back, please. Okay, this card does not get flipped and bounced by Thing in the Ice, but the Centaur tokens do. So you're just like, whoop! Flip the Thing in the Ice. I have a 7/7 that I played for 2 mana, and you have none of the benefits of that. Yes. This is a real thing. So, are we good? We getting them? All right. So, yeah, I'm going to throw it back down to the play area, and we are going to see what is up. So, Dan, is this Nick on the left here? Yeah, it's got to be Nick. All right. So, Nick and Jerry, did he tell you what he's playing other than that it was spicy?
No, he did tell me it was spicy. We're going to see how spicy it is, because he's playing against Burn.
Oh, well, it needs to be pretty spicy if you're going to beat the, kill you with Goblin Guides deck.
Yeah.
For those of you football fans out there, Matthew Stafford is not the Lions quarterback. He's just a guy who plays here sometimes. Deck name, and we know that Matthew is on Burn. So the fiery kiss of lightning bolt and Atarka's command will be coming for Nick. We'll see what he's got. I personally am very excited. I hope that this isn't just like a deck that sort of folds to turn 1 Goblin Guide.
It's hard to play spicy decks that don't fold against Goblin Guide.
Not wrong. Okay, so Paper Tiger gonna get flipped to Rock Lobster there. Or maybe...
No, Scissor Lizard.
No, so I think Matthew won because he flipped Paper Tiger against Rock Lobster.
No, that was Scissor Lizard.
Oh, Scissor Lizard was what Nick flipped?
Yes.
Okay, I just don't know the arts that well, I guess.
Mm-hmm. The Rock Lobster looks like a lobster made of rock.
It looked like a lobster from here, Dan.
No, it looked like a scissors that had lizard features.
All right, we're gonna have a dispute in the booth. If it gets out of hand, we'll mute the mic so you won't hear the sounds of pitched battle. But yeah, so both these players are gonna shuffle up for game 1. we still have no idea what Nick Ajari's playing. We will see though. Yes. I was recounting to the chat the time he played like Horror Tribal with Thing in the Ice, Hunted Horror, and Spellskite, which beat like Naya Company on stream, which was fantastic. What is going on? Is that a Mortuary Mire?
Oh, is Nick playing Treasure Hunt?
No, please have mercy.
Because if Nick is playing Treasure Hunt, he's in for a bad time here.
I am unsure. Nick is mulliganing though, so I want to believe, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I will say so enough here.
Yeah, I mean, this will be, no matter how well or poorly this goes, it will be interesting. And hopefully Nick's deck, we will get to see what it really does before he just gets, like, burned out in 3 turns or something.
Mm-hmm.
God, please, Nick.
Yeah, it looks like I see a Goblin Guide in Matt's hand, as well as
Alright.
a Tarkus Command, and enough land to do all these things, so...
Gross. Nick gonna keep in Scry. Looks like he's got a Verdant Catacombs on top. Gonna put it to the bottom. And here we go. Tapped Hissing Quagmire. Oh, yeah. Manland, let's go. Okay, so flip is gonna be a Beast Within. Okay.
Interesting.
What's happening? Turn 2 Beast Within your land isn't always the worst. Oh, God. Okay, so that's a swamp. And no turn 2 play here for Nick. That's already not the dream.
Matt has another Goblin Guide and a Swift Spear in hand.
Please, Dan, have mercy.
Also with a Tarkus Command in hand. So
is this the turn 3 burn kill?
this is very easily the turn 3 burn kill. Nick's gonna find a swamp.
Gonna go to 13. He's gonna draw 2 cards from the Goblin Guides. That's basically like, take 4 divination, right? But this is not ideal for Nick.
No, Nick is I believe, is he dead on the next turn? Let's see.
So the Goblin Guides are 3. The Swiss Spear, no, so he's not quite dead. If there's a 1-mana burn spell.
That's a Hornet Nest.
Hornet Nest! Here we go! Ladies and gentlemen, the battle has commenced. Hornet Nest. Get it in here. Somehow this was in the search history of this computer. I have no idea why. From M15, when it's dealt damage, put that many green insect creatures with flying and death touch onto the battlefield. What's happening?
So this is a deck that I have seen Nick play where
what is it?
It's a lot of fight mechanics.
Oh. Please.
So
Have mercy on us.
despite how good Hornet Nest might be against this board,
He might just be dead.
yeah, Matthew Stafford has double a Tarkus Command in hand.
No. Does he really?
He does. Doesn't have a land.
Yeah.
If he chooses to attack here,
I think Nick's got a block.
Nick's
What's on top? I don't know what that was.
not exactly sure what's on top here.
It's a Fight Club deck. Nick, choosing to block the Swift Spear, I do sort of like this line because it maybe keeps the Hornet Nest alive, but obviously this is in a Tarkus
This is also the best play against a Tarkus Command.
This is going to be 9 damage, so Nick's going to go to 4.
Yep.
That's not great.
We'll get 3 insect tokens,
3 tokens.
but
Yep, so that's a lot of damage.
yeah.
And
So Nick will no longer be taking damage from creatures next turn, but I don't know if that's going to matter.
fightclub.deck.
Yeah, Nick's deck seems very well positioned against decks that have to use creatures to deal damage, much less so against decks full of burn.
The Wild Jack's coming in for Nick here. Pass back from Matthew. It's almost impossible to lose in this position, barring some major life gain effects. Unless you drew another Hornet Nest, in which case, hell yes.
But even another Hornet Nest wouldn't be good.
You're right,
Nick
you're right.
needs to, like...
Phyrexian Obliterator.
Oh.
Hello. What?
Oh. So this is one way Nick can win the game. But Matthew Stafford is just going to draw the Boris Charm.
No, please! No. The fun has ended, ladies and gentlemen.
No fun allowed.
Oh my god. That was an astonishingly good burn draw. Like, I feel like, though, if Matthew stumbles even a little bit, like...
The problem is you can really get closed out quickly just by pointing Burn to the face.
Yeah.
And, so if Matthew Stafford was on something like, even, like, some Merfolk. Or
sure, Merfolk
or even, like, Affinity.
Merfolk with no Island Walk is quite good. Whew, wow. Wow. That's some stuff right there.
Yeah,
All right.
Certainly spicy. Unfortunately, just paired against probably the worst.
I feel like Infect
matchup?
might be harder. Blighted Agent's real good against this deck.
Infect would be pretty rough as well, especially when your fight mechanics don't work due to hexproof.
Green Black Fight Club. Green Black Fight Club, probably the best name that I've typed into the deck field. Probably in my time casting here, honestly. Like
Snuffy the Seal, thank you for the follow.
yes, and also Vacillato for following just before him. So here we go with game 2. So Nick gonna be on the play, still sideboarding a little bit here, but I think the dream for his deck is like play a creature turn 2, fight things turn 3. Also, he needs a way to gain life, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest problem though is that Nick just doesn't have a play on turns 1 or 2.
Right. I think that was. I also agree with you. Like taking all that Goblin Guy damage was really hard.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, this was with Nick on the play. Imagine if Matt was on the play.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. Buddha 518. We currently don't stream standard here at the shop. The current stream is only for modern, based on like the amount to which Dan and I can commit to casting.
Right. There's a possibility that the stream may expand to other days, but we'll definitely let you guys know.
Yeah.
In the future.
That will be very well advertised. And but those plans, there's nothing concrete to do anything like that thus far, like going forward.
Yeah, no, but we appreciate the support you guys have been giving us.
Yeah, we've had some really, especially the past 3 or 4 weeks have been really good, and we really appreciate everyone for tuning in, especially on a night like tonight when there's obviously more important competitive events happening in the world. I guess if you're not like a baseball fan or live in Chicago, then there's not. But the city is a little bit on edge right now, and when I was walking here from the subway. There are more people in this neighborhood than I have ever seen out before.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're, just, you don't have a horse in this race, it's still kind of exciting for either franchises.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see here, but we're gonna cut back to the Magic here. We're going to game 2, Green Black Fight Club versus the classic Nea Burn. Nick Kajari, Matthew Stafford battling it out. Turn 1, tapped Hissing Quagmire. Do you ever make snake noises when you attack with that card, Dan?
I have literally never done that in my life.
Are you sure?
I'm quite sure.
But Dan, please. Turn 1 Grim Lava Mancer coming out from Matthew. So not as explosive as it was last time. Nick has a turn 2 play. It's a Steve, a Sakura Tribe Elder.
Yeah, Sakura Tribe Elder actually going to be very good here.
Lets you play a turn 3 Phyrexian Obliterator.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. That's all right.
Now Matt does have access to Path in the board, and potentially Path in the main, but Phyrexian Obliterator is probably Nick's best way of winning this game.
All right, Cubsfit, it's Naya. I am truly sorry. I have been pronouncing it the wrong way for a very long time.
So this is an Eidolon of the Great Revel. Probably going to be worse for Matt than it is for Nick here.
I mean, you know what Eidolon of the Great Revel doesn't trigger off of? Phyrexian Obliterator.
Yeah.
The answer is Phyrexian
And I believe
Obliterator.
Nick does have a Phyrexian Obliterator in hand, right?
Also, one thing here is I do prefer the attack with the Lava Mancer into the Steve, because most of the time the ramp decks are going to sack the Steve.
I do too. So that is an Urborg, so okay, we do have... Oh, here it is!
Oh my god. Like, you can't block this, because then you just sack all your permanents. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, you also can't Searing Blaze this.
Oh, you 100% can't Searing Blaze this.
That is a no-no.
Please no Searing Blaze. Don't double Searing Blaze. Oh my god. How can you win? Because the thing is, Matt has 2 Searing Blaze in hand. Which means that, like, those are effectively turned off.
Yeah, that is definitely a card I would have liked to see Matthew board out. On account
Seeing Phyrexian Obliterator game 1 should just be like, get these out, get them out, where are my paths?
Well, I mean, you saw 2 creatures that game. You saw Hornet Nest
and Phyrexian Obliterator. How do you how do you Searing Blaze those and feel like you did a good thing?
Right.
Like, you can't attack into this either. You will
correct.
sack your whole board.
You cannot attack into this. You can't block this.
This is when Phyrexian Obliterator is the best. Like, currently in Modern, obviously, like, stuff like Liliana of the Veil, not good enough, because you have to, like, you know, you have to, like, with Liliana, they can make you sack it. Path, obviously. Path to Exile and Phyrexian Obliterator, an insane tempo play, but, like, you're a burn deck and you don't have Path in your hand. What are you gonna do?
Right. So, Matthew, contemplating what he wants to do.
Okay, so this is gonna burn Nick to 17 and put Matthew to 16.
Yes.
And then he's also gonna suspend a Rift Bolt. This Eidolon plus this Obliterator are really
So
good.
I really don't like this bolt here, because if Nick has any fight effect, you almost have to bolt your own creature, or you just lose the game on the spot.
Oh, please have a fight effect. I just want to see it happen once in my life, Dan.
Yeah.
Please! He also has a backup Obliterator.
Yeah.
Do. Obliterator?
Yeah.
He has a Hornet Nest and
Yeah,
an Obliterator.
Hornet Nest and Obliterator. I mean, attack with Obliterator, play the second Obliterator.
How can you
How can
lose?
you lose?
Ding!
Yeah, unless Nick has a fight effect, in which case, you know.
In which case you fight for the lulz? Okay, it's just Obliterator number 2. So here's the thing: the Rift Bolt's gonna come off suspend.
He's gonna go to 9.
He's gonna go to 9,
And then
he's gonna lose to double Obliterator attack.
right. Obliterator does have trample as well.
Yes,
So
important to note, guys. Very important to note.
Matt needs to win this turn, or draw a path.
All right, sure. But Matt instead is gonna go to 9. Nick is gonna go to
14.
14. Thank you. Yep. So well, there's only 2 lands, and this isn't looking great.
Yeah.
And the scoop? Yeah, the scoop.
Yeah, we're done here. We're done.
Oh man. Yes, generic name SH. Imagine if Matthew had Declaration in Stone. That would be the nuts. But also, no.
Also,
Please.
yeah.
Please, have mercy. There's no way. Oh man, what a play.
So yeah, Phyrexian Obliterator, one of easily the best way that Nick is going to close out this game.
Turn 3 Phyrexian Obliterator seems nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what do you do? Okay, yeah, so Steve Jordan, the notable cards in Nick's deck are Phyrexian Obliterator, Hornet Nest, and a bunch of fight effects. That's what his deck does. It is called Fight Club, and that's he fights things with Phyrexian Obliterator and wins the game, because how do you win when you fight a 5/5 that makes you sack stuff, please?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're like, I don't know. We're just sort of losing it in the booth here, because this is insane. Like, nobody. This is like the Nick Gajeri classic.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But I think like Matthew's deck is very, very well positioned against this.
Oh, he can just kill Nick before he plays an Obliterator.
Right, he can kill Nick before he does it. He can, even win late game just by drawing more burn. Has access to Path to Exile.
Yeah, but if he doesn't draw the path and there's an Obliterator, you're in trouble.
Right, but even then it's fine, right? Obliterate giant wall, but you can go around the wall. You have lots of effects that go around
You
the
can
wall.
go around the wall. It's just like, the problem is you don't normally have enough permanence in play that you can afford to get your Obliterator to block.
But even if you lose a couple of permanents,
Yeah.
you're also playing a deck that can function off of 1 or 2 lands.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Steve Jordan, Nick is a brewer and a judge, and He has also, Generic is right. He is also top 32 at some GPs. What was the most recent standard one he did so well in with the, I don't know. I feel like he was playing something really offbeat.
He did very well at GP Toronto, top 32 with that. And then top 64 at SCG Indy recently.
Okay, do you remember what he was playing back then?
They all included some number of Thought Knots and Reality Smashers and Displacers.
Okay. That's fair. All right, so Burn going to be on the play here for Game 3. We saw Game 1 when Matthew just, like, went off and smashed Nick in, like, 3 turns. Yeah, here we go.
All right, so
gonna look at a hand here. Got an Eidolon in there. Got some lands. Got some lands.
Yeah, I have a lot of lands here. Maybe too many lands.
Nah, dude, you have to be able to sack to Obliterator.
Okay, well...
Spellskite on top. That's not what Matthew wants to see.
Alright, so Nick's gonna go 18 here.
Draw the Spellskite.
Right.
Like a champ. Tap land.
Yep.
Oh.
Woodland Cemetery there.
I'm not sure that's great. Unless he has like a non-forest land to play turn 2. Woodland Cemetery, guys, one of the sort of...
one of the check lands.
One of the like check lands from Innistrad. Probably like very infrequently played. I think the 2 most common ones in Modern are Sulphur Falls and Glacial Fortress, probably.
Yeah, but if you're playing Phyrexian Obliterator, pretty much every lane has to be able to make black.
Yes. Oh, I mean, of course, Daniel. Of course.
Now, it does look like he has this Occurred Tribe Elder in hand. It's unclear whether or not he's going to be able to play that turn 2.
Yeah, I really, for Nick's sake, I hope he's able to, because otherwise he's just going to keep taking damage from this guide. That's a Quagmire off the top. He gets a draw, so, maybe this works out for him, but also the turn 1 tapped check land means to me that there's not a lot, and there's an Eidolon there, so that'll do a fair bit of damage on its own. I think he has a forest, though. Yeah, he has a forest.
He does have a forest.
Steve gonna go to 14.
Okay, so this does mean that
he can't play the turn 4 Obliterator or turn 3 Obliterator here.
Unless
unless he has an Urborg.
Unless he draws Urborg, yeah.
So I feel like this is like the classic block sack with my
absolutely
with my dude, but I don't know. It's looking kind of dicey. Matthew gonna go to 16 here. Honestly, just decreasing the, almost at the point where Phyrexian Obliterator takes 3 turns instead of less than 3 turns. And Swift Spear going to hit the battlefield to 14. So Matthew is doing a lot of damage to himself with this Eidolon.
Yep. But his life total is just not enough.
I kind of like turn 2 play Swift Spear Lava Spike much better.
So
Obliterator on top.
Another Obliterator on top.
Okay, so this is a swing for 5. Matthew also does have an Atarka's Command in hand.
Yeah, so this is... It will end up being... Atarka's Command is going to add... Oh, well, okay. This is Boros Trump to do 5.
Yeah, so Nick going to go to 10 and then down to 6.
Yes, and Matt's going to go to 12 from this as well.
Jeez.
Unfortunately, even if Nick was able to play the Obliterator here, it'd just be too late.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. So he needs to have something.
Vampire Nighthawk won't even do it, I don't think.
The problem here is that like Matthew can Anthem the team and say gain no life.
Yes,
and
that would be lethal.
That's lethal exactly. So Nick in a spot of trouble here.
So Nick, unless he plays Damnation,
agree.
Right now, I
think
believe
he
is
loses.
dead.
Yeah. We'll see though. Maybe he's got something to sort of wend his way out of this one. He has a Spellskite. He needs Spellskite plus like blocker.
But Spellskite puts you to 4.
You're right. This is where Eidolon is so good. Is in these last like 3 chunks of life, just pressuring you out of the game.
And Nick going through his options here.
Yeah, it doesn't look great though.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is
a little slow.
Yeah, this was just a tad slow. Potentially could have been a game if he was on the play.
Yeah, agree.
But
and this is why the Phyrexian Obliterator deck isn't in Modern very much.
Well, just quadruple black is
also
a pretty heavy cost.
A very heavy cost, yes, Dan. Yes, it is. Gonna go to 4. Matthew can kill him in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah. I mean, he has lethal.
A command, do it. Yeah, Nick's going to have to scoop it up. Green-Black Fight Club going down to Naya Burn. Naya Burn, Cubs fan. That one was just for you from deep in my heart. Yeah, so Naya Burn going to take it down over Green-Black Fight Club. Honestly, though, probably the best Phyrexian Obliterator I've ever seen on camera. That being said, I haven't seen a lot of Phyrexian Obliterators on camera, so yeah. And Utah says felt like Nick's keep was a little slow. I agree, but like he almost had turn 4 Obliterator, and I feel like his deck is just slower than Burn, and there's not a lot that he can do about that. Like it's just how it works out, I think. And that's the unfortunate fact of the matter. So yep, I will be resetting the overlay here. Again, Matt Stafford taking it down over Nick Gajeri, Burn over Fight Club. And yep, so looking at boards here. Yeah. We will see. So Dan, yeah, Utah says the thing is like he didn't have a turn 1 play. And actually no, so I'm thinking about this now, the tap land turn 1 was the right play because that's like how you cast Obliterator on turn 3 or 4 because you need the black source. He couldn't play the force. He wanted to avoid doing that at all costs. And yeah, Comrade Squawks, I'm not going to disagree with you. It feels a little bit slow, but like I feel like there are very few decks that are going to be fast enough against Burn. All right, and Dan gave me the nod as he came back in. Dan, what are we going to watch?
We're going to watch Vincent play against Alex Perez on Banto Eldrazi.
Oh, please. Have mercy. All right, guys. So, Vincent Adinolfi on Jeskai Control. Coming back for, I think, what probably has to be Game 3. Maybe Game 2 against Alex Perez. Vince and Alex play pretty frequently here. Alex always plays Eldrazi, and Vince always plays Jeskai. So, but I believe they were the only match that was still going on, or like wasn't already into Game 3. So we are lucky to see more Magic. However, this is a somewhat atrocious matchup that we've seen Vince lose to in the past. Not sure on the current match record here. I'm going to put it as 0-0 for the moment. Dan, do you know what game they're on?
This is going to be Game 3.
This is Game 3. All right. So both players taking a relatively quick victory in each of the games.
Alex losing Game 2 after Vincent was threatening Johnny Alt.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right. One-sided Armageddon is pretty good.
One-sided Armageddon has been known to induce players to concede the game before, but that's my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So these players are going to shuffle up. Eldrazi with Cavern of Souls, obviously super super good against the deck playing the millions of counter magic that Vince is. So we shall see.
Yes, Supreme Verdict is definitely going to be taxed in this game.
Yeah, and Vince only has one of those. Although Anger of the Gods sometimes against Eldrazi boards isn't the worst.
Right.
If you hit like Hierarch Displacer stuff, it seems fine. That being said, though,
also importantly, turns off means that
Matter Reshaper.
Matter Reshaper will not get the trigger as well.
Yes. Matter Reshaper putting stuff into play is really good.
Mm-hmm. The fact that Matter Reshaper effectively draws a card is just insane.
The thing is that you can kill a Matter Reshaper, and it flips a Displacer.
Mm-hmm. Or replaces it itself
with another Matter Reshaper.
Yeah.
Have mercy. And so Alex is going to be on the play here then?
Alex is going to be on the play.
Okay. Yeah, that is sometimes critical for this Ban Eldrazi deck because you just go like Temple, Thought Knot, and like win the game on the spot.
You can also curve out very well. The Eldrazi deck does have clunky draws.
Absolutely.
But it does not look like this is going to be one. This Ancient Stories is probably the best card in the deck.
Yeah, by a long shot. It does so much, and like there's a non-unreasonable argument that this card should be banned.
Yeah, it effectively, is Ponder that goes...
Mega Ponder!
Yes. Well, sort of, right?
I mean, yes, it's only sort of Mega Ponder, but Alex only finding a Brushland off of his thing. Maybe he just needs the colored mana? I don't know. Or maybe it was a bad Stirrings. It's unclear. Tapped Breeding Pool suggests to me that this is just not something that he... is not an ideal thing that he just saw.
Right.
Vincent, gonna have another tapped Colonnade. Vince could get punished for this if Alex has a Temple. Because Vince definitely has untapped land, and he's choosing to play it. But, okay, this means that Vince just doesn't have a leak sort of thing. Alex going to play a Cavern named Eldrazi. I guess it's fine if Vince doesn't have a leak now.
But this is an incredibly slow hand from Alex.
Yeah, this definitely plays into Vince's game plan real well. Yeah, Alex going to put the Eldrazi note on the Cavern. I have seen Alex name Human with his Caverns because he has an Eternal Witness in his deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is, just a really good heads-up play.
Vincent is waiting for the Thought Knot. Oh, Vincent knows. And he lets it fall. Oh, boy.
So this is the difference between play draw, right? If Vincent was on a play, would at least have...
there's a Cavern.
Could potentially have had double bolt up.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't have a second red source, though.
Right.
Oh, this is brutal.
So Vincent does next turn have the tech edge for the Cavern.
Sure, that seems fine, I guess.
It seems fine, but without being able to kill the Thought Knot right now.
He's gonna get crunched.
Yeah, and tapping 2 lands next turn as well means that, it really
I
doesn't
do
feel
like
great.
tech edging the Cavern, though, because it means that Alex, you obviously don't have Smasher outs right now, and if Alex has Smasher off the top, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Tech edge, please.
So Vincent drew Electrolyze, which...
not good enough without double red.
Yeah.
I would tech edge here, or maybe tech edge on upkeep, but either way, that Cavern needs to leave. There's just no...
without double red, double bolt's not really gonna do anything.
Steve Jordan, Eldrazi is a very challenging matchup sometimes. But no, Vincent, content to just sit on 4 lands here. I don't know, I really like the proactive tech edge. I guess he's building towards a Rev, though.
I believe that was a Windswept Heath.
Okay, and Smash.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I was right, but I was right.
So Vincent's going to go digging for Path to Exile here.
Yes. Electrolyze you, so Alex going to go to 16 after fetching.
A really heads-up play here. You do run 4 paths.
And Vincent just going to go to 11.
Doesn't look
Vincent,
like he found it.
No, he needs verdicts.
Yeah.
I
think Vincent was priced into a tech edging there.
I think that tech edge was...
Especially since he didn't have a play on his turn.
Right.
He held up the mana so he could cycle and Electrolyze. But I think the threat is just a little too high of what can
go wrong.
Yeah.
And at this point, Vincent needs to draw something.
But at the same time, right? If you tech edge the Cavern, that only puts your opponent off of exactly Smasher.
Right,
Anything
but that doesn't he doesn't have relevant plays in hand.
Yeah. Well,
he can hold up his oh my god.
Yeah, so the Cavern wasn't even doing much either because
So Vincent is just
lost
no, Vincent isn't just dead, but he's pretty much just dead.
I mean, Vincent has a Helix.
That doesn't do anything. He's only got single red.
Yeah. That means that that puts him to 14 exactly.
Yeah, he's dead.
Jeez,
this Eldrazi, though, Alex just, having the Cavern means that he can just jam 5 drops without fear of leak.
Yeah, and I mean, that is one of the problem with the Jeskai deck. When your removal is, mostly damage-based.
Absolutely.
A lot of it doesn't do much.
Mm-hmm. That is the truth.
So Vincent tanking here. Can't counter. It's interesting. Oh, so Vincent is going to rev for 1 to try to hit Path to Exile.
This has to be exactly Path.
Yes. And even if it was Path, he is still like... He's got a mountain to climb, even if this is exactly Path.
I don't think it was Path.
Looks like it was another Helix.
And he's going to let the hand fall on the table. That's going to do it. Vincent Adinolfi losing this one to Alex Perez on Bant Eldrazi, 2-1.
Yeah, I mean...
That's just a really... The double smasher draw is insane.
The double smasher draw is very good. Vincent not having double red, also problematic.
Yep. Yeah, so... I don't know. I mean, there's not really a lot that you can do there if you're Vince.
Yeah, and again, this is like one of the problems with this deck, right? You're so answer heavy, but your answers have to line up correctly, right? Yeah. If Alex had played, turn 1 Noble Hierarch, the hand would have been, great.
Yeah, you just bolt that.
Or, Noble into, like, Displacer and stuff like that, hand would have been great. But if you play Thought Knot Reality Smasher, all of a sudden your hand is unkeepable.
Yeah, no. I mean, the thing is all those cards are effectively blank against it, and you're not. Alex wasn't even close to low enough to burn him out.
Right, and if with cards like Sphinx's Rev, where you try to go over the top, a lot of times you just don't have time.
It's hard to go over the top when they go under.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Phonics. I think he honestly kept a hand that's fine against the little Eldrazi draws. Like I would not have mulliganed that 7 necessarily. It had a cryptic and stuff, and like.
Yeah,
you're really good if they go acceleration into Displacer.
Yeah, I don't think you can mulligan that hand either, because there are a lot of hands that are just
worse.
Turn 1 Noble, turn 1 stuff like that, and being able to bolt a Displacer, even bolt a Matter Ray Shaper is not the worst if you're under pressure.
100%. Were there any other matches going on, or is that going to do it?
No, that should do it. Looks like everyone else was wrapping up.
Okay. So do you think then it's worth kicking it to a short break, or should we just wait to get the next pairings because they're the last round?
There might be another match or two still happening, so let's kick it to a 5-minute break.
Okay.
And if matches are still outstanding, we'll chat a little bit about the state of Modern and this upcoming GP.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to go to a 5-minute intermission, guys. We'll be back shortly.
silence you, that inner voice that is telling you to hold on. Hold on to what you believe, a belief much bigger than a dream. You said take your step and go and explore what's about to come. Hold on to what you believe, a belief much bigger than a dream. You said take your step and go and explore what's about to come. Hold on to what you believe. Hold on to what you believe. I remember when I was young, and my father told me, listen, son, listen to that inner voice that is telling you to hold on. Hold on to what you believe, a belief much bigger than a dream. He said, take your step and go and explore what's about to come. Hold on to what you believe, a belief much bigger than a dream. He said, take your step and go and explore what's about to come. Hold on to what you believe.
All right, and we are back here live at MTG Card Market for our fourth and final round of the night. As this game comes to a close, so too is the World Series game, which is currently in the middle of the 8th inning. If you're in Chicago...
Middle of the 8th inning? What does that even mean? There's a
It
top
means-
and a bottom.
No. Like, the middle means that the bottom hasn't started,
Okay.
but the top has ended. It's a very real baseball term. It's because, like,
Sure.
they take a little bit of a break,
Sure,
you gotta get
alright.
the fielders out, you gotta warm up your throws a little bit, you're like, whatcha? Like, there's a middle. There's a
Okay.
distinct middle.
Fair.
Yeah. So we are going to throw it down to the play area and take a look. So Shay on the left there.
Yeah, this looks like Shay versus Sam Schultz.
Yeah, so we saw Sam earlier. He was playing the Jeskai aggro list popularized by Jeff Hoogland. And on the right, Shay is going to be playing Kiki Cord.
Also popularized by Jeff Hoogland.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, you know, for all of the sad legacy articles that Jeff Hoogland has written, he's a very, very good brewer in Modern. Mm-hmm. Like, he crushes. Like Kiki Cord is just so good.
Yeah, well, and not just Modern. Like his standing on the SCG's leaderboard.
Also very high.
Yeah, multi-format, very proficient in like pretty much every format.
Yeah. Multi-format all-star, you might say.
And based on Shay's Power Shuffle, it looks like he might be on 62 cards here.
I did see him with the extra 2 cards. Mm-hmm. Shay, please have mercy. What do you... So, with the release of Kaladesh and stuff, there are some new additions to the Cord deck. Some new silver bullets. One of the big ones that I'm thinking about is Selfless Spirit, which has proven to be like a relatively popular card for the archetype.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that one...
oh, sorry, that's not Kaladesh.
Yeah, not so much Kaladesh.
Recent addition in Eldritch Moon. I'm only a set behind, guys, I promise.
It's nice having just, an unpredictable toolbox.
Yeah. Being able to just, hit with a 2/1 flyer, but also be wrath-proof is quite good.
All right, looks like they're doing a poker roll, but unfortunately we cannot see what the numbers are.
Yeah, I have no idea. That looks like a not quite a. No, that might be a straight. Actually, that's a straight. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a 2-4-5, 2-3-4-5-6.
Okay. Seems quite good.
Yeah, dude. How do you beat a straight?
A boat.
All right. Or full house, I guess. Does full house beat a straight?
Yes.
Okay. Is that what a boat is?
That is what a boat is.
Okay. I just don't know your fancy poker terms, Dan.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, players shuffling up, getting ready to start game one here. This definitely for Sam is a race against the clock.
Yes.
Like I honestly, although I do think that Mantis Rider's like probably quite good here.
Once the engine goes for Shay.
Geeky Chord, yeah. Okay, so Shay's gonna show us his hand. Couple accelerants and a resto.
Yeah, it looks excellent.
Seems fine.
Seems excellent. All right,
Probe.
we're gonna take a look at the exact configuration of it.
Oh wow, so like triple accelerant resto. Resto incidentally blocks Mantis Rider quite well. I've been told.
Yeah, so I mean, Shay can play turn 1 birds, turn 2 Wall of Omens,
Wall of Roots.
Wall of Roots,
Hierarch.
and Hierarch, and potentially something else.
Right, like he's got a lot of lands
Yeah.
/ fake lands, and by that I mean mana dorks.
And Sam is not playing a deck that can punish it. If Shay can draw into a quarter calling, I mean, we're already quartered into like the 4 or 5 territory here.
Yeah, and that's where it gets spooky. You get the really big creatures. Like Pia and Kieran Noir seems crazy.
Yeah.
So that's an Ewit. Oh yeah.
Ewit not so great here without something to
without
like
something to Ewit for.
Right.
But yeah, so I feel like this will probably be the birds, and that'll get bolted. But it's you have to run it out because like I think Sam has like double. Sam has bolt double helix.
So I actually prefer the Noble Hierarch here.
Because it's still a kill target, but it also you need to. Oh, but the turn 1 birds is going to be the play as Shay does switch up his lands and creatures as decreed by the, this is how you shall play your lands and spells of streams.
So Shay plays Wall of Roots. He can play the second mana dork off of it.
Yeah.
Which means that he could if he started with Noble Hierarch attack for 1.
I think that whatever he plays first is getting bolted. So he needs to figure out what his less valuable 1-drop is.
Right.
And in a deck that relies on the flexibility, I think birds might be all right. Like, I don't know how to prioritize birds Hierarch, because Hierarch is free damage, but I'm not...
Yeah, but one of the problems with this deck are the color constraints, right?
So maybe bird is the better... So the
bird
actually is not going to get bolted here.
Right.
I think maybe Sam looking for a Helix?
Sam, remember, get probed on turn 1, and saw how mana heavy Shay's hand was.
So he just doesn't care.
Yeah, the bolt is just not going to be good.
Yeah.
And again,
and if
Shay's hand becoming even more polarized, if he draws into Quarter Calling, his hand is like absurd now.
Sam with another Git Probe here. So he's fired off 3 of those thus far. Draws a mutagenic. The problem with Sam's hand is he doesn't actually have a creature.
Right.
So he's not going to be able to take advantage of Shay being so down on cards. Gavany Township
is
probably the
draw.
best draw in a I have all the lands deck.
Probably the second best draw. Like Quarter Calling still probably a better draw.
Court of Calling, obviously.
So now we're going to see if Shay values 1 damage or a counter. And it looks like he's going to value the damage. Bappin's correctly pointing out that, yes, still can't attack.
I mean,
with
the thing
with
is
burst.
like, without a threat, like, Sam is not doing
Yeah, absolutely.
at all. Also, just to note, that is some very 8th edition art right there on Shay's Mountain. I'm a little bit disgusted.
But yeah, Shay has...
This is...
Shay has, Gavany Township next turn.
Gross. Well, and here's the thing, right? Like, this is what the core deck does. Like, even if it doesn't have, like, its big dudes, its little dudes will do just fine just getting in there.
Right. So, I mean, I like playing the Gavany Township. You can attack for... there we go.
Yeah. You can attack for some damage. You can attack for 2. because you can put a counter on the Hierarch and attack. But instead, this is just going to be a swing with the birds.
Right, I like this a little bit better because this allows you to leave up Restoration Angel.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like that's got to be the play here, right? Like, you play Resto, you hit with a 4-power Resto, this game's over in like 4 turns.
Right, well, not just a 4-power Resto. The turn after, all of a sudden, your Mana Dorks become 1/2s.
Mana Dorks being 1/2s is quite good. I'm concerned for Sam. He just doesn't have any threats. Right, like this deck doesn't have a good way to find threats either. Like you have the Serum Vision stuff, but this just doesn't feel like enough.
Right, and your burst kills aren't as bursty as Suicide Blue, right?
Right.
You don't have a team or battle.
And he's just gonna draw another island here. Like he needs to draw. Like this deck needs to be going like Monastery, Swiftspear, Storm Chaser, Mage, Mutagenic that turn sort of thing.
And yeah, it is unfortunate as Sam flooding out a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. Mm-hmm. But Shay just gonna be like. Oh, wait, no. Shay's going to play the Resto.
Yeah, Shay's going to play the Resto.
Bam!
He's going to blink the Wall of Roots, presumably, to reset the counter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Bolt.
And Sam is...
He's going to Bolt Helix.
Right. This feels pretty bad to have to do.
Yeah, but you
because,
gotta do it.
Yeah, like, we're in the territory now of, like, how do you win the game?
You don't. I don't think Sam's going to win this game. Like, that's just... Unfortunately, that's my assessment, is like...
Yeah, it was... always very unlikely that Sam
and
will
also
win the game.
Shay has drawn a path for Sam's first threat.
Yeah.
So Sam needs to draw 2 threats now. And he has Gavney Township.
Yeah, another problem is that Sam also saw Shay's Eternal Witness.
Yeah.
So he knows that even the
Resto's coming
Resto's
back.
not coming back, yeah.
The Resto's coming back. That's the reverse dream.
Funny enough, Shay could have chosen to play the Eternal Witness and still have mana for the Birds to Paradise.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Still had mana for the Restoration Angel.
Yeah, he's got a lot of lands and dorks in play. Sam gonna fetch to 14. Shay gonna tune into the Cubs game. Well, he does so.
But yeah, Sam just unfortunately falling very, very far behind here.
Absolutely.
Just having kept a creatureless hand and not drawing into one.
This is the problem with the deck like this, and like, I really think you have to draw one of your 12 creatures. Like, you can't not. Like, even Snapcaster Mage. Like, you have 16 creatures and like 12 of them are like haste threats. You have to have one. Like, I just don't think there's any other way that you win with this deck. Although I think he just drew a Mantis Rider, which is going to get path, but that's okay. Whoosha! Mantis Rider going to hit the table. All-Star from Cons. Everyone loved playing it. Unfortunately, it just got bio-blighted a lot. But that's fine. Look at that. Mantis Rider. Flying Vigilance Haste. That's 3 keywords.
so-
That's super strong.
So yeah, Shay can go for the Restoration Angel and just block.
Oh, please have mercy.
And then Sam's gonna try to Vapor Snag this, or potentially just try to kill it with a Bolt.
Or he's just going to Muta his guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Resto resolves. Go to blocks. Block. And Muta. And then, so this sets up the line for Sam, which is too slow, of Shay, pass your guy, you Vapor Snag your guy.
Right. So
Sam at
Sam's
12,
gonna
by
go
the
to
way.
12 from
Yeah.
there. Again, once you Vapor Snag this, all of a sudden,
You're 11.
how do you win this game?
You're not, because you have to
Yeah.
kill the Resto somehow. And again, as we looked, Hoogland's list doesn't play Path, which is, not what you want.
This deck does not play well from behind, and Sam is a mountain behind right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so we're gonna see Shay end of turn crack a fetch here. And then, just a wealth of options. He can play Eternal Witness, get back Restoration Angel to blink the Eternal Witness. He can just,
Get back Path.
he can just
Go
go on the Gavney Township value train.
Is the Gavney attack lethal?
No,
we're not close to that. But we might be soon.
So we are in the territory where a chord for Kiki is available.
Oh,
Yeah. Shay can actually chord for 6 here.
Whoop, whoop. And that is going to be an attack.
Yeah.
Fire up. And that's going to be a Gavney, so it's 4 + 1 + 1, so 6.
Yep, just gonna be
Sam
attack
going to
for
go to
6.
5. So Sam on a 1-turn clock here. Not looking so hot.
Right. Yeah, just with knowledge of Sam's deck, he doesn't even have any live draws. There's just nothing he can draw to.
Sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, so
Gonna play the Mantis Rider and
Gonna go
just
through
pass.
the formalities here. Shay.
I mean, Shay just Ewits for Path here.
Yep. Shay can Ewit for Path. He has a. Has he drawn this? Oh, he just naturally drew another path. So
Yeah, and that's gonna do it. All right, Shay Straussman gonna take it down over Sam Schultz 1-0. So currently 1-0 here. Yeah, we will see what Sam has against this much. Because the thing is that the Kiki Core deck is just a little bit slower than the aggro deck. So like, it's very difficult. This is like the classic like aggro versus mid range trinity, right? Like, where it's like, if you have aggro, mid range, and control, where like aggro gets under control and control goes over mid range, but mid range goes over aggro, just a little bit. Like because like Sam's
I think your trinity might be a little off here.
Aggro, mid range, and control, right?
Right.
Okay, so control beats mid range. Mid range beats aggro. Aggro beats control.
Yeah.
What is yours?
There's a lot of arguments to what the rock paper scissors of a format could be, but the problem also here is so Sam's way of Sam's board here just consists of Thing in the Ice and I believe a Vendilion Click as well.
I actually sort of like Thing in the Ice.
Yeah, Thing in the Ice is going to be excellent here, but Shay's going to have access to a little bit more removal.
Yeah.
And we'll see if it's good. It's going to be Kosali Pride Mage, Revelar. So Shay, it looks like he's boarding. Oh, he's boarding into Helixes. Yes, that makes sense.
Helix is to kill the Mantis Riders and the Swift Spears and the Storm Chaser Mages that will no doubt be
All seems excellent.
quickly following.
But yeah, Shay checking in on the Cub score, as I'm sure many people in chat are as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we can see how this goes post board.
Yeah. Yeah. Bappin's combo fits into a different circular thing, where there's also the combo aggro control group or circle.
In the rock paper scissors aggro control mid range, combo could be a flamethrower in that game of rock paper scissors.
Yeah, this is true. If you're not
case it just
prepared for
doesn't
the
care.
combo, you've got issues.
Right. But all right. Drawing our opening 7 here.
Yeah, I really hope that Sam kept a creature.
Yeah, so it looks like he has at least a Mantis Rider. That might be a Storm Chaser Mage as well. It looks like it was kind of a landline hand.
Okay, so you have to mull.
Shay also has a couple lands, has a Helix, has a Wall of Omens, but perhaps a little too slow. It looks like he might have been missing a white source.
Yeah, and in the Kiki Core deck with its mana requirements being as stretched as it is, that can be that can just lose you the game.
Yeah, you're certainly a base green-white deck.
Yeah.
Right? But you do have,
Triple red.
Sometimes there's a third color, black or blue. It looks like Shay might be on the black version with Pontiffs. For those following the World Series as well, we are now tied 6-6 after the Indians scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th.
Oh boy.
Notably, Cubs 3 errors early in the game.
There was a wild pitch that scored 2 runs. This is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But in the midst of this insanity, we have 2 players who are both going to 6 here. Mulligans.
I don't know if Sam can keep.
Sam has
Sam
a
doesn't
no-lander
have
here.
Any lands?
Yeah, this.
Please don't keep that hand.
The thing is, if Sam draws even 1 land, the Sam Visions could dig him out. But he
you
needs
can't
multiple
not
things.
draw a land against the core
Oh
deck.
well, with Sam on the play, that's just unkeepable.
Yeah.
You can't go turn 1 pass.
For sure.
Yeah. Shay also going to 5 here. So
This is gonna be a slugfest. This is just gonna be like, who can rip the best off the top.
I mean, I'm inclined to feel that like Sam is heavily favored now because
Because if Shay stumbles at all.
yeah, I mean, Shay has a lot of very clunky cards in his deck with a lot of crazy mana requirements. If Sam just plays, turn 1 Monastery Swift Spear and just backs it up with a bunch of things, that could just be good.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, again, Shay also has cards like Wall of Omens to like draw his way out of this.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It is a little unfortunate that both players are mulling to 5, but
Mull to 5 is just it's
better that both players are doing it.
right, because otherwise we'd really have a non-game.
Right, but this just means there are now a lot of
There are a lot of problems.
Shay giving us the update that the World Series is in fact tied.
And there's another runner on second.
All right.
Whatever, we're back in the game. All right, so both players mull to 5. Shay looks like he's going to keep, maybe? Sam looks like he has to keep this. Oh, this actually seems fine. He has a Mantis Rider.
Yeah, and Shay's hand actually looks, on 5, excellent. He's got...
Storm Chaser on top for Sam. Keep, 100% keep.
Right, Sam's got 2 lands and the ability to play everything. Shay has a Wall of Roots, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or that might be Eternal Witness. We'll see soon enough here.
Tapped, I don't know. I like playing the
Shay with the worst draw in the deck, the Kiki Jiki.
The Kikity Jikity. I guess so. Like this does let Sam get prowess triggers with the Serum Visions. This is going to be a serve for 1 with the Storm Chaser.
Now, if Sam can just rip another land, he's got just does he have the Mantis Rider?
He has a Bloodstained Mire.
Okay, so he's got just
This is a lot of damage coming through this next turn. This is an attack for 4.
This is an attack for 4.
Oh, I lied. It's an attack for 5. There's a probe.
Yeah. Sam probably gonna shock here. All right.
Yeah.
Shocking to make sure he has double red.
But yeah, no. So this is what we were talking about with the mulligan from Shay being like very punishable. Although I think Shay has Resto next turn.
Resto would be an excellent draw if he's able to do it.
I think he has Resto. Mantis Rider, and we'll see because he's got a probe. Sam has a probe here for 15.
All right. Well, we're gonna see right here.
Yep. Resto, Kiki, Ewit, Forest. So no ability to cast Kiki anytime soon.
Yeah, we're kind of a mile away from that. Although, if Shay draws Firelit Thicket next turn, and then draws a red source,
Oh, please.
he can just win on the spot. So, like, we're not out of the woods here. We still have the turn 4 kill.
yes, we do, Dan.
The
That's a
turn
good
4
point.
kill is live, but now with Sam aware of the Restoration Angel, it's
14.
it's unlikely he will play into it without having at least like a bolt backup.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Looks like Shay drew Windswept Heath instead, so unfortunately we will not have the turn 4 kill.
Wait, Windswept Heath is the red source?
It
But it's
is,
not
but
Firelit.
it's not Firelit Thicket. Shay could still try to do it if he played the Windswept Heath and got a
YOLO'd?
stomping ground.
Yeah. Believed in himself. Serum Visions trigger prowess here. I think he drew Muta. Oh, did he draw Muta? That'd be insane.
Muta would be an absurd draw. Sam seen a Lightning Helix and going to keep that on top.
He has a Muta.
It is a Muta.
Oh no, it's a disaster. Please.
Yeah, so Shay can also play the conservative play and just block the Storm Chaser Mage.
It still dies.
Yeah. Oh, I guess you're right. It is still 4 power.
Yeah, I mean it's giant because the thing is there's a Serum Visions trigger, so it's a 2/4. Then it's gonna get +3/+3.
It'll be a 5/6.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh,
The
13.
mutagenic growth.
So I mean Shay. So yeah, so 13 there for Sam. Shay gonna take 3, go to 11.
Correct.
Okay. So Shay now is in a spot of trouble.
Yeah. I would have been tempted to try to go for the kill.
What do you mean?
Play the Windswept Heath, get a red source,
And pray that you draw Firelit Thicket.
try to hit Firelit.
As it is, he has a cord now.
Cord an excellent draw.
I don't know if it's fast enough.
Let's see.
I mean, Sam's hellbent.
Yeah, so he can cord for 3.
Yeah. What does 3 get you here? Does 3 get you... do you think Shay has, like, Fiend Hunter variants?
Shay likely has a Fiend Hunter, so...
I like Fiend Hunting here. Hunt some Fiends.
Yeah, Fiend Hunter would be great.
It's like Hunt the Weak, but hunt some Fiends.
Shay also has an Eternal Witness, so we can, like, really start going pretty deep here.
Yeah, I don't know, but, like, Chord for Ewit just, like, doesn't do it. I think it's slow.
No, he has a Ewit in hand.
Oh, yeah. Ewit, get Resto.
So,
it's fine.
So, I mean, Shay can get a Fiend Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And then, let's see. Oh, no, Shay choosing just to play the Eternal Witness now.
Get back Resto.
Get back Resto.
So he's going to take a guaranteed 4, maybe 5 here, but he's definitely not dead.
Yeah.
Well... I don't
mean,
know. The right string of probes into Muta could do it.
Yep.
I don't know what Sam drew, though. Or, like, another Mantis Rider would obviously be insane. And I can't see what Sam drew.
So, with this line of play, though...
7.
Shay will fetch a red source here.
Yep, and 6 for him. So he is very close to dead.
Yes. Shay also always has, he has a low missionary up front. Low missionary is a way to, instantly buy back 4 life. Which, it doesn't feel great to burn a Chord on that.
Yeah.
But also not terrible when you have a Restoration Angel to flicker your Eternal Witness. And you can Chord again.
Absolutely.
So...
Chording
So
and
Birds
that
of Paradise is an excellent draw.
Because it's a red source?
Because it's a red source, but also because you can put a counter on your Wall of Roots and use it as 2 mana next turn.
For Chord?
No, for your Quarter Collie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Shay chose tap the
Forest.
Tap the forest, so he's gonna be 1 mana down on that.
Oh, I see what you mean, because you can use the wall both turns.
You can use the wall this turn and next turn.
Yeah, so Sam going to take a draw step here. What is he? Lands in a Helix?
Yeah.
All right.
So the Helix does present lethal here.
Actually, I think Shay might... Oh, no, he can play the blocker. The blocker, Resto. The question is what he tries to block.
Also, there's the line that if he had put the counter on Wall of Roots, he could make mana with Wall of Roots, play Restoration Angel, flicker the Wall of Roots, and make another mana out of it, and then Chord that same turn.
Jeez.
And I believe he'd have access to Chord for 2, which would mean that he could play Restoration Angel and Chord for Lone Missionary.
Okay. So here's the Chord now. Sam's like, sure, this happens. Not sure what he's going for here.
So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a Chord for 4.
Right.
This is P and Kieran Lar.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So this is going to be able to block both things.
Yeah, block both, and then Sam has Helix, but then you can like resto your Pia Kieran, so he has to draw Bolt.
Yeah. Well, Sam will probably Helix now because he knows that Shay has the Restoration Angel in hand.
Oh, you're right. Shay with those cheaty face cards as his stop their tokens.
Yeah.
Gah, please.
So Sam could also hold up the Helix. Because if he goes for the Helix now, that means that Shay can flicker the Ewin instead.
I'm surprised this single block here by Shay means that Sam can Helix him and put him to 1.
Yes. This is a bit of a risky play.
I mean, I don't know if Sam is bold enough to go for it, though. And it doesn't look like he is. Shay gonna go to 5.
Yeah, so Shay was dead to double spell, but I mean...
Sam only has 1 card.
No, Sam has 2 cards.
Oh, he does.
But if double instant spell, you're dead to that anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we will.
Well, actually, that's not necessarily true. Mutagenic Rose and whatnot.
Helix. If one of them is a Helix, you're dead to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Then you're dead to just double instant.
Right.
2 mana. Helix your Mantis Rider. And this is where Shay turns the corner.
And the corner now has been turned.
Assuming there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing. Shay gonna go to 8.
Yeah, so Shay now has a Restoration Angel to possibly buy back the Helix. If Sam doesn't, if Sam tries to kill something with Helix, Shay can get the other target. He has P and Kieran Lar is an excellent target, and Eternal Witness is an excellent target.
Gross. This is an attack. Shay does not care. He's getting in there for 5 damage, and Sam's gonna take it, go to 8.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Kiki Chord at its finest, I think.
Right. Shay still has Restoration Angel up. So this thing is 5 or 6 turns too late.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And yeah, the problem is, okay, so here's the problem with casual thing in the ice on the board is like it doesn't help you.
Right.
Like it when every single one of your spells does not say draw a card, it's
too fair. It's too fair.
It's way too fair. Like you need to be going like Manamorphose, spell in a turn. Like you can't just be like, because now Sam is gonna. It will take Sam like, he's already cast a couple probes, but if he like draws 1 or 2 probes, it's still gonna take him a minimum of like 2 turns to flip this thing. And
now, fortunately, Sam.
please.
So Shay can't get value off of this because Sam has Helix.
I think he's
But
gonna let
Sam
it
is going to let this happen. Oh, because he knows about the Kiki Jiki in hand.
Can't. Well, I don't know, man.
Shay. Well, Shay accidentally dropped the Kiki Jiki.
Well, and also Sam had a probe that saw it, but like, okay, so this is a Foothills fetch to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Triple red is online.
So the problem here, though, is that yes, you can kill the Kiki Jiki, but
it's still gonna make a copy of the resto.
Right.
The restos are still gonna swing for 6. Everything else on the board is gonna swing for 1 billion. Like,
you are.
Honestly, this deck should play like Rally the Peasants. Like, jeez.
Yeah. If Shay just makes a copy of the Restoration Angel, he'll try to go for the combo. Sam will kill it in response.
Mm-hmm.
And then.
Then it's subpar.
And then like, you're so far behind.
Absolutely.
You still will make another. You still will make
a resto token.
A resto token. Which means that you're gonna take a lot of damage here.
So Shay pointing at the invisible token. There it is.
So I don't believe he has lethal because Sam is now at 11.
Oh yeah, you're right. But Sam, for all intents and purposes, I think is dead.
Yeah. I mean, a weird sequence of Gataxium, probes, or Serum Visions can allow him to flip the thing nice this turn.
Yeah.
It's gonna be close. It's gonna be very close. But like Sam does have outs. It's just very unlikely.
For sure.
Might just want to crack the fetch just to marginally increase the chance of him drawing something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't a land.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It was a Storm Chaser Mage.
Yeah, and that's gonna do it.
Good enough.
Gonna scoop it up. Shay Straussman. Shay Straussman gonna take it down 2-0 over. Over Sam Schultz here. Kiki Cord, really just sort of grinding out Jeskai aggro.
Yeah, the Jeskai aggro definitely had a window where they looked, in commanding position, but Shay managed to draw out of it. At the end of the day, the creatures in Kiki Cord deck are just a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Drawing...
The Helix draw was super clutch though, because Sam did have the line of like Helix you to 1 and then anything I draw kills you, but then Shay draws out of it with the Helix.
Right. I was a little bit surprised by the non-block on the Storm Chaser Mage.
Yeah.
Just because you could have just died from that position, but
I don't know. Did Shay draw the Helix or not?
Shay did draw the Helix the turn afterwards though.
Okay.
I do understand his thinking though, in that if Sam doesn't have anything, that Thopter will allow you to block the Mantis Rider another turn.
Yeah, that's fair. Because the thing is like Sam has to draw spells to make that bigger than a 1/3 flyer.
Yes.
And if he doesn't, then like it's just a 1/3 flyer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So it looks like this is going to wrap us up for tonight. All the other games are either in the process of being finished or have already concluded.
Yeah.
So we will wrap it up here then.
Yeah. So basically, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate you guys tuning into the stream. Another great night tonight. We were peaking around 80-90 viewers, and we really appreciate your support.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for tuning in with us. Just as a friendly reminder, if you're in the Chicagoland area, there is a standard 1K PPTQ here on November 12th.
Yes.
That's next
Look
weekend.
over here. There it is.
We should
That
have
one.
and we should have definitely exciting weekend in Modern as well. We had an open last weekend, 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
2 weekends.
2 weekends ago.
But
GP.
Yeah, now we're gonna have the GP where the actual pros come out.
Modern GPs are always my favorite because there's just like Wizards will normally publish like the top 64 deck lists. You just get to scroll through and see all the crazy stuff that people played to good finishes. So
and despite the SCG Opens have very high quality players, but they're not
Reduke.
the Pro Tour kind of players,
Yeah.
right? You're not gonna see Reduke or
for sure.
Owen Turnwald playing the SCG. So it should be an interesting weekend. We'll see if anything new develops. The format is extremely aggressive at the moment, so we're gonna see if
Just dredge everywhere.
we're gonna see what people can come up with. But other than that, thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back here next weekend.
Yes, next Wednesday.
Next week on Wednesday with another Night of Modern.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're in the ninth.
This is a baseball game right now.
The World Series is in the ninth.
There's a runner on first. There's one out, and this is I am deeply disturbed that the game is tied right now.
Yeah, but we'll let you go to real World Series.
We're gonna let you go watch the game. Definitely tune. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night, guys.